Hi guys, are we live? Hi kids, are we live? Yes? Are we live? Hi kids, so can you see me, can you hear me? Hi everyone. Hi kids, so can you see me, can you hear me? Hi everyone. Okay. Okay guys, so welcome to Unacademy NEET English. Hi, I'm your biology educator Ambika Sharma. So welcome to Unacademy NEET English. So finally we are starting our first class of NEET Conquer batch, and the topic that we are going to discuss is, you know that it is the living word. So are you guys excited for the first class of NEET Conquer batch? Obviously of biology. Yes everyone? Are you people excited for it? Hello, hello, hello. Are you guys excited for it? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Very good, very good. You should be excited, and please take out your pen and paper, because whatever I'm going to tell you, you have to note down the points, you have to make the notes, and by the end of the session, we will solve the MCQs as well. We will practice few questions as well. Okay. So after so long, I'm taking the session on YouTube. Very happy, even I'm too excited. We are again starting the class 11th. So guys, in the NEET Conquer batch, basically we will cover high weighted chapter, right? So marathons will be taken, like we are not going to take the chapters in part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, right? In one go we will finish one chapter. Let's say if one chapter is very lengthy, then that in that case we can do one thing, that we can keep it in two parts, but not more than that. Okay, not more than that. And later on you guys can, you know, increase the speed once the lecture will be over, and on 2x or even on 1.5, 1.75x you guys can revise that chapter as well. Okay, so this is the idea basically. So let's say if I'm going to keep one session for a chapter, so you know that if I'll take 2 to 3 classes in a week, so very quickly we will be able to finish our chapter, isn't it? Isn't it? Then we will be having, you know, more and more revision sessions, the practice sessions, right guys? Right? It's a good idea, of course it's a very good idea. Okay, so let's start the class, bache. So the living word, the chapter, this is the chapter that we are going to start, but before that I want to tell you few things. So first of all, I would like to tell you about the NEET Energized batch, because we are getting so many questions, right, that what is this batch, ma'am, and what is the difference in NEET Energized batch and the NEET Avengers batch. So guys, you know that already on Unacademy platform we are taking the classes, and that batch is NEET Avengers batch. But after the NEET result, many students, they requested us that they again want to join our batch, right? They want to be the part of our batch. So what we have done, we have started this thing, that is your NEET Energized batch, right? So in this batch, what is different? See, in this batch, you guys are going to get extra 33 plus hours, right? Extra 33 plus hours. See, we have already completed, like, let's say if I talk about biology, we are about to finish the complete unit cell, right? So if you are getting enrolled in NEET Energized batch, so you will get the recordings of that particular chapters. Moreover here in this batch, I will keep recap sessions for all of you, right? Whatever chapter we have completed till now in NEET Avengers batch, I'm going to keep the recap sessions of that particular chapters in your batch. Moreover, there will be a boot camp. Your Wasim sir is going to take the classes, and he is going to share the strategy, the one-to-one interaction, right? Your doubts will be taken. So this is the idea behind. Okay, so this is the idea behind. So this is the difference in NEET Avengers and the NEET Energized batch. So basically this batch is for those students, those who want to enroll with us now, right, after NEET result, right, the one who want to be the part of our batches, this batch is for them. So how you guys can join it, and let me tell you, very limited number of seats are there in this batch. So you guys can see, this is the description box, bache. So here you guys can see this link. You have to click, right, you have to click. The coupon code Avenger is already applied. So now for this batch, the total fees after the discount is 15,000 rupees. So you have to fill up your detail, your mobile number, your email ID, whatever you want, and then you will be the part of this batch. So it is my advice that actually if you want to start your NEET 2022-2024 preparation again, do not delay. Please join the batches as soon as possible. Otherwise, again, there will be the backlog. So let's finish it ASAP, right? Join it as soon as possible because limited number of seats are there. And if you will delay, obviously, you know that there will be the backlog. So just keep it in your head. And now, without wasting the time, let's start the chapter that is your living word. So now tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. What do you know about the living organism? Define living organism. It's a very basic question, huh? You must be thinking that, ma'am, it's a very, very, very basic question. Just a minute, right? It's a very basic question. Even a 5th class student can give the answer of this question. So you tell me, what do you understand by the word living? Whenever you say that any organism is, living, what will you define? Whatever is there in your head, just tell me that. Whatever is there in your head, just tell me. Movement. Okay, what else? Metabolism, right? And do not use that big words from your class 11th biology that ma'am, metabolism, cellular organization. No, the basic that you know, right? Like let's say if you have to explain it to a layman, then what will you say? The basic. Tell me about the basics. Growth, metabolism, consciousness, what else? What else? Yes. Reproduction, walking, talking. So basically whenever we define any of the living organism, we used to say that that particular thing is moving, okay, or it is capable of growth, right, or you can say that it is responding to its surrounding. These are very basic things. But bache, in class 11, when you talk about the living organism, you define things in a different way. Here in this particular chapter, whenever we talk about the living organism, we are going to consider two things, right? What will we consider? We will consider two things. The one is the characteristic feature of living organism, right? Characteristic feature of living organism, right? And another word is the defining feature. This is what we will discuss in this particular chapter. That is how we are going to define the living organism, right? I'm explaining this point once again, and do not underestimate this chapter. I know this chapter is very basic, but still sometimes, confusing question can be asked from this particular chapter. So what I'm saying that whenever we use the word living, bache, right, so we have to consider 2 points. One is the characteristic feature and another is the defining feature. This is what we need to consider, right? And if I have to define the living organism, so I will say it is a kind of interaction, right? It is the kind of interaction of molecules, isn't it? Isn't it? If you have to define any of the living organism, can't we say it like this, that it is basically a kind of interaction of different molecules, isn't it? Of different molecules, isn't it? Let me explain. See, whenever you talk about the living organism, you start from the cell, right? Right? We will relate many things, huh? We will relate many things, isn't it? Whenever we talk about the living organism, we always start with the word cell. We always used to say that it is the cell which is the basic unit of life, isn't it? It is the cell which is the basic unit of life. And even if I talk about the cell, ultimately it is made up of different molecules. Your organic, your inorganic, all that molecules, all that compounds are basically forming a cell, isn't it? Isn't it? So in simple words, if I have to define a living organism, so I will say that it is a group of molecules in which they are interacting, they are expressing themselves in the form of metabolism. Can I say so? Guys, can I say so? Listen to me very carefully. I'm explaining it again. I'm saying that whenever we talk about the living organism, we are saying that it is basically the group of molecules, the molecules that are interacting among themselves, and they are representing or presenting themselves in the form of the metabolism. In the form of the metabolism. Right? Right? Let me simplify this thing. So basically I'm saying that your cell, any living organism, it is made up of different molecules. You can take the example, the carbohydrate, the protein, the fats, the nucleic acid. Different things are required. Different things are required. That things will interact among themselves. Basically the chemical reactions will be there in a living body. Right? And we all are the result of that chemical reactions. So in this one line I have explained everything. Right? Right? So living organism, group of molecules interacting among themselves, or you can say that presenting themselves by metabolism, and the result of that is growth, the reproduction, the consciousness, right? So whatever we discuss in this chapter, I am defining it in one line. This is what the living organisms are. Okay, bache? These are the living organisms. So as I said in this chapter, what we have to study, the characteristic features and the defining features. So in characteristic feature, you will include everything. The respiration, the growth, the reproduction, the movement, everything you are going to consider. But when bache, we are using the word defining property, so we will take some peculiar features, right? We are going to talk about the properties which are only there in living organism, isn't it? Which are only there in living organism. You will not see such properties in non-living organisms, right? Right? And even all the living organisms will be having that particular properties. So that will come under the defining properties. Is that clear? Is that clear? So up to this part, all clear, bache? Yes. So the very first thing that you need to do is just put a title and mention it, that what is living. It is given in NCERT, na? What is living? So bache, we are doing this chapter as per old NCERT. Okay. We are doing this chapter as per old NCERT. We are not going to follow the new NCERT for it. The reason is, just a minute. Okay, so in new NCERT, you know that the taxonomical aid is not there, the what is living part is not there, right? So in the old NCERT, everything is mentioned, that like what is living, right? And just a minute, bache, just a minute. Okay, so in new NCERT, everything is deleted, like what is living and taxonomical aid, but these two things are important things, and in NEET paper, question used to come from this part. So we will be going with the old NCERT as of now, right? If you don't have the old NCERT, the PDF, I will share it in our Telegram group, okay? Okay, so what is living? So you know that we conventionally look for distinctive characteristic exhibited by living organism like growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response come to our mind. These are the features of the living organism. So now how are we going to start, bache? We will be starting with the defining properties. Okay, we will be starting with the defining properties. So we will start from something very basic first, and that is the growth. Okay, that is the growth. So you know that all living organism, they used to show the growth, isn't it? Whenever you talk about the living organism, they used to show the growth, isn't it? Isn't it? Yes or no? But bache, see, but when you talk about the growth is also there in the non-living organism. What exactly is the growth? In the case of growth, we consider two properties, right? This is given in your book as well. So we used to consider two twin properties when we define the growth. So there will be the increase in mass. Yes or no? There will be an increase in mass, or you can say that there will be an increase in number of individual or number of cells, right? There will be an increase in number of individual or number of cells, and there will be an increase in mass. This is how we define the growth, and we know that all the living organisms are going to show the growth, isn't it? All living organisms are going to show the growth. This is what we already know, but it is not the case, bache. Now let's take the example of animals. take the examples of your plants, your higher plants, right? In the case of your animals, in the case of your higher plants, when you talk about the growth, right? Or you can say, you can take the example of any of the living organism, any of the living organism. So in their case, right, in their case, you will see internal growth. I'll be very specific here. Whenever we talk about the living organisms, we know that there will be an internal growth, isn't it? There will be an internal growth. They will increase their cell number, they will increase their size, even the mass will increase. This is what we know, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? Living organism. But same growth we also see in non-living organisms as well. Right, bache? You cannot say that non-living organism, they do not show the growth. Even they used to show the growth, but that growth is what? That growth is external. That growth is what? That growth is external. I'll give you one example. Let's take the example of a snow mountain. Right. When there will be the deposition of the snow over this mountain, obviously it will increase its mass, isn't it? It is going to increase its mass, isn't it? Isn't it? Yes or no? Of course. And moreover, let's take the example of your sand dunes, right, bache? In the case of sand dunes also, you know that whenever the external sand will get accumulated over it, it will also increase its mass. So when you talk about the growth, right, the twin properties are increase in mass and increase in number of cells, which is very important. It is also a PYQ, and even the living organisms used to show the growth, even the non-living organisms used to show the growth. So basically growth, this property is shared by living organism as well as non-living organism. So we do not consider this property as the defining property. We only keep it as a characteristic feature. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes or no? So what am I saying? That when it comes to the growth, growth is just the characteristic feature. It is not a defining property. It is not a defining property. So what exactly is a defining property? The one which is present only in the living organism. It is not shared with a non-living organism, and moreover all the living organisms are going to possess that. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So this first point clear? This first point clear? Now the another point, the second point. Now as I said that in the case of living organism, the growth is going to be internal. What type of growth will be there in the case of living organism? The internal growth. And when you talk about the external, when you talk about the non-living organisms, the growth will be external. Right, the growth will be external, isn't it? Isn't it? So bache, what is the meaning of internal growth? What is the word that we use for internal growth? It is intussusception. It is intussusception. I will explain you the meaning of this word. Just use this particular word, bache. And second is external growth. And what is the word for that particular growth? It is accretion. What is it? It is accretion. Note down these two words. They are important. Right, bache? Just note down these two words. It is important. So living organisms, internal growth, intussusception. Non-living organisms, external growth. The word is accretion that we are going to use for that. Okay. What is the word that we are going to use for that? The word is accretion. Clear? Now what is the meaning of this? See, bache, this is how you have to remember. Internal intussusception. Internal intussusception. So in living organism, internal growth is there. Like let's say if there is a multicellular body, in that multicellular body, bache, the number of cells will increase. The number of cells will increase. Like I'll give you one example. Let's say there is one structure which is made up of 10 subunits. Right, let's consider this example. There is a structure and this structure is made up of 10 subunits. Right, 10 or more than that, whatever it is, right, bache? So let's say this is something which is made up of 10 or 12 subunits. Just focus here, okay? Leave everything, bache. Whosoever is spamming, just ignore that. You just focus here, right? We are here to crack our NEET 2024 examination. We are here to complete one chapter in one go, okay? Okay, so ignore everything possible. Fine? Fine, and there is no need to respond even in the chat. Just listen to me. Just listen to me. Fine? So these are the spammers. They don't want us to study. Okay? Okay, so let them do whatever they want to do. There are many people, you know, those who don't want us to teach you properly, or they just want to distract me. Okay, so they want to see that nervousness on my face, right, while teaching. So I'm not going to get affected, and I think even you should not. Okay, even you should not. Fine, fine, right? So are you all aligned that we should not get affected with such people? Yes or no? Yes or no? Let them do whatever they want to do. It's fine. It is their cheap mentality, right? They are here to waste our 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And we are not going to get affected, and same is going to happen with you all, right, in this journey of yours, right, in this NEET journey. Many people will say you will not be able to crack, you cannot even crack, arey, you don't know the answer of this question, how will you answer all the 180 questions in the NEET examination? So chill, ignore everything and focus here, ignore everything and focus here, right? So come to this point. So we are talking about the living organism, and we are saying that they used to show the internal growth, and here the word for that is intussusception. What is the word for that? Intussusception. I'm explaining you this this word. Don't be like that, ma'am, this is not given in NCERT. Trust me, it is given in NCERT, and it is important for you people to understand it. So I am saying, let's say there is something which is made up of 10 subunits. Okay, there is a structure which is made up of 10 subunits. Now with time this structure will show some growth. Okay, this structure will show some growth, and instead of 10, let's say now here we are having the 20 subunits. Right, what do we have here? Here we are having the 20 subunits. Okay, so a kind of internal growth is there. Like in your case, you can see your bones are going to increase their size, right? And with the time our height will also increase. Other factors are also there, but this is the example of internal growth. Now when the word is accretion, A for accretion, A for accumulation, right? A for accretion, A for accumulation. Accumulation means deposition, isn't it, bache? It means deposition. Now see, you have one more structure. You have one more structure. Now here in this particular structure, how the growth will take place? Here there will be the deposition. Let's say over this structure there will be the deposition of one more layer. There will be the deposition of one more layer. So this is the difference in internal growth and the external growth. Here in this case, internally growth is occurring. Here in this case, externally the deposition is going on. The accumulation of material is there. So are you getting it? Are you getting it? I have already given you the example of sand dunes. Like over these sand dunes, whenever there will be the deposition of sand, obviously it is going to increase its mass. So what is growth? Growth is a characteristic feature of the living organism, but it is not the defining feature, isn't it? It is not the defining feature, isn't it? First point clear? First point clear? Now come to the another point, bache, and that is the reproduction. Come to the second point, and that second point is reproduction. So now, according to you, if you are reading this chapter for the first time, then you tell me, right? Those who are reading it for the second or for the third time, they know it very well. But if you are reading it for the first time, just tell me the answer. Just give me the answer. So reproduction is what? Is it a defining feature or is it a characteristic feature? Right now, bache, we are talking about the properties of living organisms. Okay, living organisms, which are the result of interaction of molecules, right? And they present themselves in the form of metabolism, and that metabolism will result in the growth, reproduction, consciousness, right? Right? So tell me, what is reproduction? So reproduction is a defining feature or is it a characteristic feature according to you? According to you, characteristic feature. So means you have studied this chapter before, isn't it? Isn't it? So bache, when we talk about the reproduction, you know that re means again and production means to produce, isn't it? Re means again and production means to produce. So already existing living organisms, right? Already existing living organisms, they are going to give birth to the new offsprings, isn't it? They are going to give birth to the new offsprings. This is the meaning of reproduction, isn't it? This is the meaning of reproduction, and it is very important for the continuity of life, isn't it? It is very important for the continuity of life. just to compensate the loss of death, obviously new birth is important, and for that reproduction is something very important. But when you talk about the reproduction, bachche, not all living organisms they show it. Yes, not all living organisms they show it. Okay, okay, not all the living organism they used to show it. Now you must be thinking, ma'am, how? Bacha, you can take the example of the infertile couple, isn't it? In the case of humans, you know that we have the example of infertile couple. There are many people who cannot give birth to the new individuals, isn't it? There are many people who cannot give birth to the new individuals. So obviously they are infertile. They cannot reproduce. But that doesn't mean they are not living. Okay, that doesn't mean they are not living. Obviously they are living. They are showing other properties. It's just that they cannot reproduce. One thing. Another example is of sterile workers. Right, sterile worker bees of honeybee. Right, even they do not reproduce, but then we cannot say that they are not the living organism. Of course we know they are. And another example is mule. Right, another example is mule. So these are the example of the living organisms which cannot reproduce, but still they are living. So on the basis of that, we used to say that even the reproduction is the characteristic feature of living organism. Right, it is a characteristic feature but not a defining property. Are you getting it? But it is not a defining property. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So these 2 points are clear. These 2 points are clear. Okay. So now one more thing. Do you know the meaning of mutually exclusive and mutually inclusive events? Yes, everyone. Do you know the meaning of mutually exclusive and mutually inclusive events? Tell me, anyone in the class, do you know the meaning of mutually exclusive and the mutually inclusive events? Yes, bache. Mohana, Shri, PG, Vinod, everyone. Gayatri, Atif. Non-defined. Trisha, keep it simple. Keep it not a defining property. That's all. Correlated. So tell me the meaning of these 2 words, mutually exclusive and mutually inclusive. Quick. See, it's very simple. When you talk about the mutually exclusive events, the 2 events which are occurring at a different time, right? They are not taking place simultaneously. And when you talk about the mutually inclusive events, the events which will take place simultaneously, right? Which are going on together. I'll quote one example here. Like if I talk about the higher plants and the animals. Right, if I talk about the higher plant and animals, in their case, growth and reproduction. They are taking place at a different time. They are occurring separately. They are not taking place simultaneously. They are occurring separately, right? But when I talk about the unicellular organisms, right, in their case, now what is the scenario? Let's say, just take the example of one amoeba. Okay, take the example of amoeba. Now that amoeba is like, chalo, let's go, let's grow. It is going to increase its cytoplasmic content. Yes or no? Let's say your amoeba, even you can take the example of bacteria, whatever you want, right? Let's say amoeba has decided that now I want to grow, right? I want to show the cytoplasmic growth. So what is going to happen? Amoeba was like, I'm growing. Amoeba was very happy. I'm growing. But all of a sudden, what is going to happen? It will divide into 2, right? It is going to divide into 2. So if it is dividing into 2, means we are getting the next generation. We are getting the daughter cells. Means it is the reproduction. isn't it? It is the reproduction. So in the case of unicellular organism and even in some lower organism, growth and reproduction, they are taking place simultaneously. We cannot differentiate that whether it is a growth or it is a reproduction. So that is why we used to say that growth and reproduction, they are mutually inclusive events in lower organism. Okay, so I'm mentioning this here. You can note down this point. This is important. So growth and reproduction, it's mutually inclusive, right? It's mutually inclusive in unicellular organism and even in some lower organisms, right? So these two events are, we cannot consider these two as defining property. Okay, we cannot consider these two as defining property. Done, bache? Done? Sure? Then we will do the NCERT reading as well. Okay, after it we will do the NCERT reading as well. Clear? Done? Okay, so now what is the next point? The next point is the next property is the cellular organization. So now tell me, is it a defining property or is it a characteristic feature? When we talk about the cellular organization, what is it? Is it a defining property or is it a characteristic feature? What is it? Tell me everyone. Yes, Srinath, Trisha, Mrithul, what is it? Is it a defining property or characteristic feature? The word is cellular organization. The word is cellular organization. It's a defining property. Now, on what basis we can say so? But we know that whenever we talk about any of the living organisms, it is the cell which is the basic unit of life, right? Cell is the basic unit of life. It is structural and functional unit of life, and below the level of cell there is no independent existence, isn't it? Below the level of cell there is no independent existence. So whenever you talk about any of the living organism, one thing is for sure, that there will be a cell, right? So if there is a single cell, that organism will be a unicellular organism, and if it is a multicellular body, if there are so many cells, obviously that organism will be the multicellular organism, isn't it? That organism will be the multicellular organism, isn't it? Isn't it? So single cell means unicellular, multicellular means so many cells are there, but ultimately cell is present there. There is no structure, there is no living organism which is not having a cell. The cell is basic unit, and you can relate it with the chapter number 8, right bache, that below the level of cell there is no independent existence of life. So this is what you guys need to remember. Okay, okay. So on that basis, you know that bache, the cells, so many cells together they will form the tissue, so many tissues together they will form the organ, so many organs together are going to form the organ system, and then there will be a living organism, right? The complete living body. Okay, okay. So that is what we study in the case of living organism, that some are having tissue level of organization, some are having organ level of organization, some are having organ system level of organization. Is that clear, bache? Is that clear? So any doubt here? Any doubt here? So cellular organization is also a defining property. So what are we discussing? The properties of living organisms, growth and reproduction. They are just the characteristic feature, they are not the defining property. But when you talk about the cellular organization, it is the defining property. What is it, bache? It is the defining property. Now, okay, so now the next property, a very important property, it is metabolism. So can you define metabolism? Yes, bache. Can you define what exactly is the metabolism? Metabolism. So you can take the example of any of the living organism. You can take the example of any single celled organism. You know that there are certain reactions which are going on in our body. We all are the product of that reactions. Like if we want to, if we are eating something, you know that there will be the breakdown of food, right? Right? That complex food will be converted into the simpler one, then our blood will absorb it, right? Our different cells, the tissue, they are going to use that particular product, right? And they will utilize it for the energy, isn't it? We have the glycogen as stored food, the breakdown of glycogen will be there, the glucose will form, and again that glucose will release the energy, the respiration will be done, the glucose will be oxidized, isn't it? So there are different chemical reactions which are going on in our body, and these chemical reactions are important. With the help of these chemical reactions only, bache, we are able to eat something, we are able to get the energy, we are able to store something, we are able to form the new structures, right? So metabolism is the chemical reactions, all the chemical reactions which are going on in a living body, in a living cell, right? In a living cell, right? So this is what metabolism is. So metabolism is the chemical reactions. What is it? It is the chemical reactions going on in a living body, okay? In a living body. So when we talk about the metabolism, there are two words, right? There are two words. One is catabolism, another is anabolism, right? There are two words that we have. One is catabolism, another is anabolism. But kata means cut, okay? This is what you need to remember. Kata means cut. Kata means cut. Everyone write it in the chat section, all of you. Kata means cut, means break down. What is it? It means break down, right? And when it is anabolism, obviously if catabolism is the breakdown, so it will be the build up, right? It will be the build up. So catabolism is the reaction in which there is the breaking down of something. Like you can take the example of respiration. Respiration is a catabolic process. There will be the breakdown of glucose there and the energy will be released, isn't it, bache? Now if I give you the example of anabolism, you can take the example of photosynthesis, right? You can take the example of photosynthesis. In the photosynthesis, there is the buildup of glucose, right? There is the buildup of glucose. So when it comes to the metabolism, so metabolism is the sum total of all the biochemical reactions which are going on in a living body. What is metabolism? It is sum total of all the reactions, all the chemical reactions which are going on in a living body, and metabolism will include your catabolism and the anabolism. Your catabolism and the anabolism. Done, bache? Is that clear? Is that clear? Now there is one more question. Many students used to ask that, ma'am, these living reactions, they can even take place outside the body, isn't it? In the chemical lab, in the chemistry lab, right, we used to perform some reactions. So how are we going to take that reactions? How are we going to take that reaction? So bache, it is very simple. Let's say if you are considering any cell-free system, right? Whenever you are considering any cell-free system, right? Let's say in a test tube, obviously breakdown of glucose we can do outside the body, build up of things we can do outside the body. These are also the chemical reactions. So basically living reactions, the reactions which are going on in our body, they can take place outside the body, but we neither consider them as living nor as non-living, right? We are not even going to consider them as living reactions, and not we are going to tell them as non-living reaction. We simply use the word reactions, okay? Or you can say that, right, living reactions going on outside the body, living reactions which are taking place outside the body. But that doesn't mean that your test tube will become a living organism. No, it is not like that. It is not like that, because outside the body the reactions cannot take place by their own, right? We have to set up everything, isn't it? We have to set up everything. It will not be self-driven, but in our body these reactions are what? They are self-driven, okay? They are self-driven, isn't it? Got it, bache? So that is why this metabolism is also the defining property, because in all living organism you will see these chemical reactions. Okay, in all the living organisms, you people will see these chemical reactions. Got it? Got it? So any doubt here? So just write down the name of the properties which are the defining properties in the case of living organism. See, life was so easy before class 11th, isn't it? In class 7th, 8th or 9th, we used to say anything which is moving, anything which is breathing, right, it is the living organism. Anything which is showing the growth, the reproduction, they are the living organism. But in class 11th, we got to know, no, they cannot be the living organisms. They are living organisms, but we have to even consider the characteristic features, even the defining features. है ना, the characteristic features, even the defining features. So life is different in class 11th. And trust me, after class 11th, after class 12th, right, even after your NEET examination, when you will go to the MBBS college, you will be like, oh, in class 11th and 12th NCERT, the things were written in a different way. Now it is different, right? Trust me, when you will read human physiology in your MBBS, then your perspective will be different. Oh, in NCERT it was written like that. Then you will realize, oh, a lot of mistakes are there in NCERT as well. Okay, done, bache? Clear. So enjoy this phase. Even if you are the droppers, enjoy this phase. Enjoy learning the syllabus again and again. But this is for the last time. Droppers, you are reading this chapter. This should be the last time. Fine? Okay, so next property that we are going to discuss is the consciousness. Means living organism, they can respond to their surrounding. Right? Yes or no? Next property is what? Consciousness. That is, living organism, they respond to the external stimulus, or you can say that they respond to the external environment. So guys, see, whenever any external factor which can make some change in a living organism, right, whenever any of the external factor, if it can make a change in a living organism, we use the word stimulus for that, right? It's a very basic thing. What is the word for that? The word is stimulus. The word is stimulus. You know, stimulus, and then we give the response. Stimulus and the response. So stimulus means that the factors, okay, that is bringing some change in a living body. So that is the stimulus. So in result of that stimulus, we are going to respond, isn't it? We are going to respond. Like, let's say you were sitting or you were studying. Suddenly just imagine you were sitting or you were doing some stuff. Okay, your elder sibling, he or she, they came and they will slap you. So what will you do? You tell me, what are you going to do? Let's say your elder or younger sibling, whatever example you want to take, you guys can take. They came and they slap you. What will you do? Tell me, what you guys are going to do? Furkana, long time, Vijay, Harsha, what you people will do, Gayatri? You will keep calm. That's a very good thing, Shri. I'm proud of you. Prisha is like, slap back. Me too. I'm going to punch. Obviously. So basically you got a stimulus, you are going to react. You are going to respond. Okay. You are going to respond. Same is the case here. So basically living organism, even if it is a single cell, even if it is a multicellular body, they respond to their external environment. They respond to the stimulus that they receive, and it is a very unique property in the case of living organism. You will not see such properties you will not see this particular property in the non-living organism. Okay, you are not going to see it in the non-living organism. So this is what consciousness is. So basically consciousness means response to the external stimuli, right? The response to the external stimuli. Okay, bache? Okay, so now if you are thinking that, see ma'am, how single cell can react, can you quote one example that how single cell they respond to the external stimulus? Can you quote one example that how single cell they respond to the external stimulus? Anyone in the class? Anyone? Thank you, Krishna. How single cell? See, obviously, do you know about the chemotaxis? Right? Even the single cells, even the let's say amoeba, paramecium, they respond to the chemicals in their surrounding. Okay, so this is also one of the example of consciousness. If you are talking about the plants, right, in the case of plants, there are many plants, there are many animals, right, which plants, they show the bending towards the light or away from the light. It is also a kind of response. There are some plants in particular light, you know, they show the flowering. They show the flowering. It is also a response. It is also a response to the external stimulus. There are many animals, you know, which are seasonal breeders. They breed in a particular season, means they are showing response to their surrounding, to that light. So this is about the consciousness, this is about the response to external stimulus. So obviously this property is also a defining property of living organism. What is it, bache? It is also a defining property of the living organism. Now the very complicated question that most of the time many students used to ask it about the coma patients, isn't it? About the coma patients. See bache, see, lower organism, like, or you can say that other than human beings, you can take the example of any of the animal. They are aware of their surrounding. Okay, they are aware of their surrounding. They know what is going on, like they know how to react to the external stimulus. But when you talk about the humans, when you people talk about the humans, in the case of humans, there is one very unique property, and that is the self-consciousness. Isn't it? That is what? That is the self-consciousness. Literally, it's a very unique property in the case of human beings. We are not just aware of our surrounding, we are aware of ourselves as well. We know ourselves as well, right? You guys can, you know, explain it, you can understand it, that there is something, you know, different is going on within your body. You are not feeling well, things like that. You are able to express it. Okay, so in the case of humans, right, we are not just aware of our surrounding, even we have the property, very unique property of self-consciousness. You will not see this property in any other animal. So that is why it is our kind duty to take care of everything, right? That is why it is our kind duty to utilize the resources properly, so that it may remain available for the other organisms also, right? Right, bache? So in the case of humans, you cannot just consider one or two features to define that whether human is living or not, right? So that is why in the case of coma patient, it becomes very difficult to explain whether that coma patient is living or not, because in that coma patient, with the help of machines, the function of heart and lungs, it is replaced by machines, isn't it? It is replaced by machines. Now machines are taking up that function. Machines are taking up that function. That coma patient, if that person is listening to someone, he or she cannot say anything, but ultimately the metabolism is going on within the body, right? The metabolism is going on within the body, Vardhini. Although the function of some organ is taken up by the machines, but still the metabolism is going on within the body. So when there is the brain death, right, then we consider that person as dead. Now that person is not living. But you know that in the case of humans, we cannot just define it with the help of one feature or the two features. Okay, we cannot just define it. So this is what I'm trying to explain you here. Okay, clear, bache? So now you do you have the clarity of this thing, the defining property and the characteristic features? Is that clear? Yes, bache, is that clear? That what are the defining properties and what are the characteristic features? Okay, so I can see the chat. Some students were asking that, ma'am, do we need to follow the old NCERT or the new NCERT? Guys, there is no official notification from the NTA side yet for your syllabus reduction. Okay, they didn't announce anything. You know that NTA loves the confusion, and especially when it comes to the NEET examination. Rest all examinations, they go very smooth, but in the NEET examination we used to face a lot of things, you know, sometimes syllabus related issues, sometimes in the paper language related issues, sometimes OMR sheet related issues, sometimes age related concerns, sometimes NTA is conducting it, sometimes your NMC is conducting it. So there are so many things, isn't it? So NTA loves that. NTA is like, oh my god, I really want to enjoy that, right? Students are worried. So I really want to, they enjoy it, literally, they love it. Okay, they want so many emails, so many tweets from your side. So as of now, all I can say is there is no official notification yet. Okay, there is no official notification yet. So if there is no official notification, it means there is no reduction in your syllabus. It means you have to follow the old NCERT. Okay, so NTA is like I'm giving a chance to the YouTubers to make some videos, to get some views, है ना? So someone is saying according to me, or new NCRT, new syllabus will come in NEET 2024. Some people are saying there will be no reduction in the NEET syllabus. So they are just giving a chance to the YouTubers that please go and make some videos and have some views. True na? है ना? So don't worry about that. As of now, just follow the old NCRT. Okay? Okay? Just follow the old NCRT. Clear, bache? So now come to this point. So here they have mentioned about the living organism. So see, these are the properties. These are the properties given in the NCRT. You guys can see here. So all living organism can grow. So two twin properties of growth is increase in mass, increase in number of individuals. Right? These are the two twin features of growth. Increase in mass, or you can say the increase in mass, increase in number of individuals or number of cells. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So it is a previous year question. Please mark it in your book. And next is a multicellular organism. Right? So the next word is a multicellular organism grows by cell division. In plant, this growth by cell division occurs continuously throughout their lifespan. So bache, here they are even differentiating, right? So growth, you know that it is the property, it is the characteristic feature of the living organism. If I talk about the plants, they can grow throughout their life, right? They can grow throughout their life, and you know the reason behind. The reason behind is the meristematic tissue. Okay, so in the case of plants, because of the presence of meristematic tissue, which is the actively dividing tissue, right, which is the actively dividing tissue, a plant can grow throughout its life. Okay, bache, a plant can grow throughout its life. Do you remember the example of it? Right, we see it in the case of plants. Like when you talk about the root, in the case of roots, here in this region, we used to see some meristematic zone, na? So here you are having the meristematic cells, actively dividing cells, small sized cells, having large nucleus, having dense cytoplasm, and these cells are capable of growth only. Right, bache? These cells are capable of growth. So there are many. So basically, when it comes to the meristematic tissue in the case of plants, you know that we have root apical meristem, we have shoot apical meristem, isn't it? We have intercalary meristem. So different type of meristem we are going to study, but in the chapter anatomy. Clear, bache? In the chapter anatomy. And now in the case of animals, there is no such thing. In the case of animals, they do not have the meristematic tissue. They cannot grow, they cannot increase their size throughout the life. Right? In the animals, we used to have the stem cells, right? That, you know, in the initial stages, we can even preserve it. But see, in the case of animals, you cannot say that the growth will be for the lifetime. So these are few points that are given here. Okay, bache? Okay, bache? So you know that in majority of higher animals and plants, growth and reproduction, they are mutually exclusive events. So now I hope you know the meaning of these words, that what is mutually exclusive, what is mutually inclusive, and that is the reason growth and reproduction, they are not considered as the defining property. So do you have any doubt here, bache? Yes, bache, do you have any doubt here? Anything related to this growth and reproduction? Any confusion? And some students are asking what is chemotaxis, bache? Response to the stimulus, right? Response to the chemical stimulus in the surrounding. Fine, bache? Response to the chemical stimulus in the surrounding. So that basic part is clear. Now, bache, when it comes to the reproduction, as I said, there are different ways. No doubt, simple cell division is there, but there are different ways. Asexual reproduction is there, the sexual reproduction is there. So in asexual reproduction, we are having the examples of binary fission, we are having the example of spore formation, isn't it, bache? And we are having the example of fragmentation, isn't it? Even the fragmentation. And when you talk about the sexual reproduction, so here there will be the gamete formation, right? Gamete fusion, which is fertilization, and then the zygote and further growth will be there. Is that clear, bache? Is that clear? Yes, is that clear? And even you know that in the asexual reproduction, we even have the example of regeneration. Isn't it? We even have the example of regeneration. Okay. So can you quote any one example of an animal which used to show the regeneration? Can you just quote one example? Just one example. Very good, Furkana bache. So the example is planaria, which is a flat worm, right? Which is a flat worm. And even in the case of starfish, you know na, starfish can regenerate its arms, right? Starfish can even regenerate its arms. Okay, so these are the examples. So this is what given in your book as well. So reproduction, likewise, it is also a characteristic feature of the living organism, but not a defining feature. Clear, bache? Not a defining feature. Is that clear? Is that clear? So another feature is your metabolism. So all living organisms are made up of chemicals. These chemicals are small, they are big, and they belong to various classes, the sizes, the functions, and they are constantly being made and changed into some other biomolecule. So these type of processes, they are going on within our body. So if you are defining any of the living organisms, so you can say that living organism and metabolism, these two things are synonym. If any organism is living, it means metabolism is going on. It means metabolism is going on. So this is what you guys can mention here, that living organisms or living organisms and metabolism. These two things they are synonyms, right? Synonym means having same meaning. So if something is living, means chemical reaction is going on. Fine, bache? Is that clear? Done? Okay. So all plants, animals, fungi, microbes, they all exhibit the metabolism. You name it, all the living organisms are having the chemical reactions. Clear, bache? So no non-living objects, they can exhibit metabolism, and even metabolic reactions which are demonstrated outside the body in a cell-free system, they are isolated metabolic reactions, bache, right, which are performed in test tube. They are neither living nor non-living. Clear? They are neither living nor non-living. So these are the points that you need to understand. So I hope with my explanation everything from NCERT is clear, right? I have explained everything from the NCERT. Is that clear? See, the next chapter that we are going to start is biological classification. So go in a proper flow. Let's complete living world, then biological, then plant kingdom. We will follow that particular schedule only. Clear, bache? So be regular for these classes. So tell me, any other doubt? No? Sure? Sure. So see, perhaps the most obvious and the technically complicated feature of living organism is the ability to sense their surrounding or the environment. Right, bache? Means consciousness. So you know that whether it is physical, chemical or biological response, we can feel that. Organisms can respond it. Okay, organisms can respond it. So see, plants, they respond to light, water, temperature, right? Other organisms, they even respond, and even plants respond to pollutants. Okay. Okay, bache. So even if you are talking about the bacteria, that is your prokaryotes or the eukaryotes, everything is capable of sensing the environment. And I have given you the example of the seasonal breeders as well. So seasonal plants, animals, they even show the growth, the reproduction in response to light as well. Okay, in response to light as well. Okay, so see, bache, in human beings, it is difficult to define the living state. Okay, so the patient which is in coma in the hospital, virtually supported by machines which even replace heart and lungs, the patient is otherwise brain dead. So the patient has no self-consciousness, but we cannot say that that patient is non-living, isn't it? But self-consciousness is not there. So in the case of humans, you know that it is difficult to define it. And bache, in vitro means lab conditions. Right, in vitro means something which is not taking place naturally within the body, it is taking place outside the body. So for the things which are going on in our body, for that we use the word in vivo. in vivo, and if it is taking place outside the body in the lab condition, the word is going to be in vitro. Clear bachche? It is going to be in vitro. So up to this part all clear? Yes, up to this part all clear? Again we will do the same thing bachche. We will firstly I will explain you the topic and then we will read it from the NCERT. So in the same time you can note down the things from the NCERT, you can even note down the points. Clear? Sure? Thank you so much. Okay, so next thing is what? Next thing is diversity in living world. Bachche, what do you understand by the word diversity? What do you understand by the word diversity? Everyone, whatever you know about it, just let me know. Diversity in living world. What is diversity? Diverse, how diverse things are. Like in diversity we talk about the varieties, right? We talk about the varieties. There are different varieties. When you look around bachche, you can see the plants, right? You can see the different type of animals. Even you can see, you cannot see, but there are microorganisms as well. So you cannot say that on this planet earth only humans are present. We can see the different type of plants. Even in plants, you know that some are gymnosperm, some are angiosperm, some are algae, some are bryo. Okay, in animals also we talk about the chordates, we talk about the non-chordates. So basically diversity is there, right? Diversity is there, variety is there in the living organism. And so as per IUCN, bachche, as per IUCN, you can say near about 1.7 to 1.8 million people are there on this planet earth, right? Near about 1.7 to 1.8 million living organisms are there on this planet earth. Okay, they are present on the planet earth, isn't it? Isn't it? So obviously you cannot count it, but we have the data for it. Okay, and bachche, here I'll highlight one thing. See, it is given in NCERT. These days question like this is not coming, right? These days you are not getting the question on the basis of that expand IUCN, expand ICGN, expand ICBN, right? But earlier questions on the basis of that used to come. So what is the full form of IUCN? Can you tell me that? Anyone? What is the full form of IUCN? Can you tell me that? IUCN, it is International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Okay, so it is International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Okay, so you should know about it. You should know about it. So as per IUCN, near about 1.7 to 1.8 million species are there on this planet earth. Species. Done bachche? And do you know here what are we considering? Right? Let me tell you bachche, here you are just considering the eukaryotic organisms. Do you know that? Here I am mentioning the near about, not the organism, but the correct word is species. So near about 1.7 to 1.8 million species are there on planet earth. 1.7 to 1.8 million. And here let me tell you, this is the data of eukaryotic organisms only. Here we are not talking about the prokaryotes. We are not talking about the bacteria here, because we do not have that much of resources by which we can, check all the bacteria. We cannot even grow them. And even if we talk about the bacteria, in the same species, on the basis of chemical composition, you will see a lot of diversity, a lot of variety. Okay, so that is why here we are only considering the eukaryotic organism. And if I go as per your class 12th NCERT, in class 12th NCERT, more than 1.5 million species, this is given, right? In your class 12th NCERT, in the chapter biodiversity, they have mentioned more than 1.5 million species. Okay, so as per class 11th, it is 1.7 to 1.8 million species. As per class 12th, it is more than 1 point. So it is almost same. More than 1.5 million means you can consider it somewhere in 1.7 to 1.8 million species, isn't it? You can consider it somewhere in 1.7 to 1.8 million species. So you can see the total number of species that we have on this planet Earth. And you know, we assume that there are more species which are yet to be discovered. Okay, which are yet to be discovered. Fine, bache. So see, if we have that number of organisms, so don't you think that the proper classification should be there? You cannot go to the tropical region, you cannot go to the temperate region and you can just start studying about the different plants and animals. Of course not. Of course not. Right? The proper classification should be there. Isn't it? Isn't it? If there will be the proper hierarchy, if there will be the proper, proper classification, that okay, let's say, just I'll give you just one example. If we say phylum Arthropoda, right? If we say phylum Arthropoda, right, bache? Right, bache? If we say phylum Arthropoda, so one thing is clear in our head: the organisms that belong to this particular phylum, they are having joint appendages, isn't it? They are having joint appendages, isn't it? This one point is clear in our head. So there is no need to go and check each and every, right? To go and check each and every arthropod. We know this point, that they are going to have the joint appendages. I'm just talking about one character. So on what basis we can do it? We have classified them, right? So now here you can see the number is too big, right? We cannot study each and every individual. So on the basis of some common characters, on the basis of similarities, on the basis of differences, we classified organism. We kept them in different groups. We kept them in different categories. Okay, okay, and that is what we are now going to study in the taxonomy. Are you getting my point? So after this topic of properties, now we are going to study about the diversity, and now we will talk about the taxonomy. Okay, bache? Now we are going to talk about the taxonomy. This is what we need to understand. Okay? Okay. So now up to this part, if you have any doubt, just let me know, bache. Just let me know if you guys are having any doubt. Do you have any? Can we proceed? So if you are new to our channel, do subscribe our channel, bache. And if you are looking for a batch where you want to enroll and you want to finish your syllabus till January with all the mock tests and everything, so NEET Energized batch is for you. Kindly join it as soon as possible because we have limited number of seats. Okay, done? Okay, so let's talk about this diversity and the taxonomy. So here you can see simple things are given here, that large variety of living organisms are there in our surrounding, right, bache? And there are some which we cannot even see with our naked eyes. Okay, but they surround ourselves. So even if you go to the dense forest, right, bache, you would probably see a much greater number and kinds of living organism. So this is what biodiversity is, and this data is important. Okay, this data is important. 1.7 to 1.8 million. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? Okay, sure. Okay, so now firstly let's talk about the taxonomy, and then we will talk about the nomenclature. So can you tell me what is taxonomy? Can you tell me what is taxonomy? I told you, because of this diversity, because of so many organisms, we need to classify the organisms. We need to put it in different groups on the basis of similarity and differences. We will talk about it in detail. So this is what classification is, and if you want to understand it, firstly you should know about the taxonomy. So first of all, tell me, what is taxonomy? What is taxonomy? Group of taxons. Seriously, anything else? Yes, what is taxonomy? Tell me. Tell me. No, it is not the group of taxon. Anything else? Taxonomy. Taxes word is somewhere related to that, arrangements, the distribution. Okay. Okay, so when you talk about the taxonomy, first of all, the term. First of all, the term taxonomy is coined by, bache. term taxonomy, it is coined by, you can write down, A.P.D. Kendall. Who coined the term taxonomy? A.P.D. Kendall. So when we talk about the taxonomy, it is the branch of biology, of course. It is the branch of biology, okay, in which we study the principles and procedures. The principles and procedures to identify it is the branch of biology in which we study the principles that deals with the, that will be better, that deals with the principles and procedures of identification, classification and nomenclature of organisms, right? Identification, classification and nomenclature of organisms. Done, bachche? Done? Done? So the term is coined by A.P.D. Kendall, and here we are going to talk about the principles and procedures which are going to help in the identification, classification and the nomenclature of organism. Is that clear, bachche? Is that clear? Done? Okay. So on the basis of certain characters, on the basis of similarities, we are going to put organisms in the different taxa. So here I would like to mention one thing, bachche. So what is the basic of taxonomy? Can you tell me what are the basics of taxonomy? Anyone in the class? What are the basics of taxonomy? Anyone? Anyone? What are the basics of taxonomy? But yeah, right now I am just talking about the term. I am not talking about the father of taxonomy. We will discuss that also, but as of now, please focus here. So what are we saying? So it deals with the branch of biology, it deals with the principles and procedures, right? Or you can say that branch of biology in which we study the principles and procedures of identification, classification and nomenclature of organism. And bache, when you talk about the basic of taxonomy, so the trick is chicken. What is it? It is chicken, right? Here we have a trick. The trick is what? Chicken. Basic of taxonomy. What are we discussing? Basic of taxonomy. So what is the trick? The trick is chicken. CH. So chicken means CH. CH means characterization. CH means characterization. Just, I don't know what is happening. So CH means characterization. I means identification. Okay. So C means classification and N means nomenclature. So this is the meaning of this chicken. So what is this chicken? It is the basic of taxonomy. So it is including, these are the basics to taxonomy, and it includes the characterization, the identification and the classification and the nomenclature. Okay, bache? Done? Is that clear? Okay. So now, see, let's say you got a new organism. Let's say that you found a new organism. So what will you do? First of all, you are going to write down its characters. Yes or no? You are going to note down its characters. You will be like whether hair or fur is present or not. Right. Bipedal, or you can say that you will look for the limbs, isn't it? Locomotion, everything you are going to note down. First of all, you will look at that organism carefully. Let's say we have an organism. Let's say this organism is Chintu. Okay. This organism is Chintu. So you are going to note down the characters first. Characters. So in the characters you will observe everything. Do they have the hair or the fur or the nails, or what type of skin is there, smooth, dry, jointed appendages are there or not, right, compound eye is there, whatever you can observe, you are going to note it down. Yes or no? You will write down that characters. So after that characters, what will you do? You will try to identify that particular organism. You will try to identify that particular organism. You will match that particular characters with, you know, other organisms also, right? And after that, what will you do? You will classify it now. You will classify it now. Ki this organism is having characters like the mammals. So you will put it there. You will put it there. Okay, and finally what will be there? You will name it. You are going to name it. So now you got it. Why I was saying that these are the basics to the taxonomy. So there will be the characterization first, then there will be the identification, and then finally the classification and the nomenclature. Classification and the nomenclature. Got it, bache? Classification and the nomenclature. So this is about the taxonomy. So it is also a science. So in this science, all the principles and procedures of identification, classification and the nomenclature will be studied. Fine? Fine? Okay? Sure? Sure? So there is one more thing, bache. Actually, when it comes to the father of taxonomy, see, don't get confused. Here I clearly specified the term taxonomy was coined by A.P.D. Kendall. Right? The term taxonomy was coined by A.P.D. Kendall. But when you talk about the father, right, father of taxonomy, so I think you know the name, isn't it? Father of taxonomy, you know the name, isn't it, bache? Carolus Linnaeus. The name is Carolus Linnaeus. I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Right? So this is about the taxonomy. Now, you know that along with taxonomy, there is one more word which is given in our NCERT, and that word is systematics. Right? Along with taxonomy, there is one more word which is given in our book, and that word is systematics. You know about this word? Systematics. So, can you tell me the difference in taxonomy and systematics, or what do you understand by this word systematic? Anyone in the class? Yes, bache, Harsha, Furkana, study time, Priyanka. Yes, what is systematics? This is what I'm asking. Babula. Achha, it's Babula. Okay. Tell me, what is systematic? What is systematic? See, systematics, it is also from a Latin word, and that word means is systema, right? It also comes from a Latin word, and that Latin word is systema. Systema means something is systematic. Systematic means the proper arrangement is there, right? We used to say, na, put these things systematically, right? We commonly use this particular word. So systema, systemic, so systematic way, like proper arrangement should be there, right? There should be a proper arrangement. So if I talk about the systematic, even this word was first time used by, you know, Carolus Linnaeus in his book Systema Naturae. You know na, Carolus Linnaeus, he wrote this. Systema Naturae. So he used this word for the first time in his book Systema Naturae, systematics. So when you talk about the systematics, it is also the taxonomy, it is also that branch of science, right? But here in the systematics, what are we going to include? Here in the systematics, bache, we even talk about the evolutionary relationships, right? We even talk about the evolutionary relationships. So in the systematics, no doubt we will focus on the characterization, we will focus on the identification, classification, nomenclature, but along with that, what are Shivani, what are we going to study in the systematics? We also include the phylogenetic relationship, that is evolutionary relationship. We will even see that how one organism is connected to the another one. What is the relation in these two organisms? Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So this is the major difference when we say taxonomy and the systematics. Okay, when we say taxonomy and the systematics, got it? So these two definition needs to be, these two words needs to be very clear, and here you guys can see it. So taxonomy, See बच्चे, taxonomy, it includes characterization, identification, nomenclature, right, and the classification. But you just follow the NCERT sequence, and that is CHICN. Okay, it is chicken, CHICN. And when it is the systematic, it deals with the study of diversity of living organism. It includes characterization, identification, nomenclature, classification, but affinity, and you can say that evolutionary relationship will be considered. Right, evolutionary relationship will be considered here. Clear bache? Clear bache? So here in the taxonomy, the unit of taxonomy will be species. We will focus here also. It will be species. But here in the systematics, you will focus on the population. That unit of classification will be population. So term was given by A.P. Kendall, and this systematic term was given by Linnaeus. He used it in his book for the first time. Okay bache? Okay? Done? So this is about the taxonomy and the systematics, and you people should know the difference. Clear? You people should know the difference. Clear bache? Done? Sure? Sure, sure, sure. So now the next thing that we need to understand is the nomenclature. Okay? So after taxonomy, what we need to understand? We need to understand the nomenclature. You know the meaning of all the other terms also, all the other terms na? Identification, classification. So now the word is nomenclature. Nomenclature means to give name to someone. Okay, nomenclature means to give name to someone. See bache, when you go to any of the region, right, just talk about your country only. Okay, just talk about your country only. If you go to the, let's say you are in Kerala, you are going to Kashmir, or you are going to Punjab, right? Let's say I am currently staying in Punjab. So if I'll go to the southern part of the India, there will be some things, right? Right? They will have different common names. They will have different local names. They will have different vernacular names. Isn't it? Isn't it? Like nomenclature means to give name to someone. This is the first thing. Now you know that in the case of living organisms, they are local names. For local names, we also use the word vernacular names. Okay, for local names, we also use the word vernacular names. So you know that these names are different. They can vary. They can change from region to region. They can change from region to region. Like if I talk about the onion, you all know the onion? Onion. Onion. In Hindi, we used to call it pyaz. है ना? Pyaz. Like at some places we even call it as kanda, if I'm not wrong, kanda. Ha, kanda. है ना? Kanda, pyaz. In English it is onion, right? Right? Maybe you go to some other country, so it will be having a different name. So basically in different region we used to have different name for the different things. But it is not worldwide. You cannot go to other country and you can ask, bhai mujhe pyaz de do, give me pyaz or kanda. You cannot say so. Isn't it? One student is saying Olipa in Telugu. Okay. Vengayam in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Kanda in Marathi. That I know, Tanmay. That I know. Vengayam. It's Vengayam, right? Right? So that is why we used to have some names which are common worldwide. We can use that names throughout the word and they will understand what are we talking. Okay? Okay? And that will be what? That are the scientific names. Isn't it? That are the scientific names. Isn't it? Yes or no? Yes or no? What are they? They are the scientific names basically. है ना? है ना? So in the nomenclature, you know that names are not common throughout the country, throughout the world. So we have to keep some common names. So for that we go for what? We go for the scientific names. We go for the scientific names. Like even in the case of chemicals, in chemistry, you talk about the IUPAC naming. You talk about the IUPAC naming. So can you tell me the full form of IUPAC? IUPAC. Yes, can you guys tell me the full form of IUPAC? IUPAC. What is the full form? What is the full form IUPAC? See, I'll tell it to HSP sir and Wazeem sir that students are not able to expand IUPAC. International Union of, seriously, Shatakshi, seriously, seriously. It is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. IUPAC namings for the common name for the chemicals throughout the world. So International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. It's PAC, Shatakshi. Okay. Okay, so same way for the biological name, for their scientific names also we are having different right unions, isn't it? We have different unions. Like you know that for animals we have the zoological names, right? And for plants we have the botanical names, isn't it? For animals we have the zoological names, for the plants we have the botanical names. So you know the different unions as well, bache. Like we have ICZN, we have ICBN. So can you expand ICZN and ICBN? It is also a PYQ, previous year question. It's important. Can you just expand ICZN and ICBN? ICZN and ICBN. So as per some rules, we are also having the scientific names in the case of living organisms also. We are going to discuss that, but as of now just tell me. International code for or of, guys, for or of. This is the common mistake that you people make. This is a very common mistake that you all make. Wait, I'll show you. See the nomenclature. Okay, so you can come here. So there is a need to standardize the naming of living organism. Like particular organism is known by the same name all over the world, and this process is the nomenclature. This process is the nomenclature, right, bache? And we can only name any organism if they are described correctly, and we know that. For that, obviously we have to identify that organism, right? We have to identify that organism. So that is why we used to say identification, classification, nomenclature. Identification, classification, nomenclature, right? So in order to facilitate the study, number of scientists, they have established some procedures to assign a scientific name. We will talk about it. So here you can see for plants, scientific names are based on agreed principles and criteria which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. So bache, it is International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. Okay, okay. So you have to follow the NCERT for that. So for ICBN, what is it? It is International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. And when it is ICZN, it is International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So this is a very common mistake of this for and of. Okay, so for botany, botanical, for botanical nomenclature, and in case of ZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Clear, bache? International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Okay, fine. And do you know we have one more thing? So focus on the word. Okay. And do you know one is ICNB. Can you expand ICNB? Can you define ICNB? So it is International Code of Nomenclature of Bacteria. Okay. So ICNB. So this is what you need to check. Fine. Done, bache? Done. So now when it comes to the nomenclature, you know that which nomenclature do we follow? Earlier it was polynomial nomenclature, but we follow binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature. Okay. So what do we follow? We follow binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature means whenever it comes to the scientific names in the case of plants, animals, fungus, bacteria, we use two names, right? We use two names. Okay. Right, we use bi means two. So we are going to use two names. So bache, when it comes to the binomial nomenclature, it was established by, right? It was established by, again, Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, it was established by Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, this is important. So that is why even he is considered as the father of taxonomy. So binomial nomenclature we are discussing. So I use the word, it is established by Linnaeus, right? It is established by Linnaeus. But if I talk about, right, that who proposed the binomial nomenclature. So bache, it was proposed by, it is not important for NEET, but still I am just telling you for your information that it was proposed by Casper. Casper in his book, Pinax, yes, in his book Pinax, he proposed it, but properly it was established by your Carl Linnaeus. Clear bache? Properly it was established by Nandana, Pavitra, Babula, Shri. It was properly established by whom? By Linnaeus. Clear bache? Clear bache? Okay, so for NEET this is important. Who established it? Fine, who established it? Right, but you can still note down it in your notes. Fine. So bache, basically the rules Linnaeus he mentioned in one book, but for animals and plants he used this nomenclature in different books. Like in the case of animals, in the book Systema Naturae, he used this binomial nomenclature. And when it comes to the plants, right, in the case of plants, he used it in the book Species Plantarum. Okay, Species Plantarum. Yes, the name is Species Plantarum. Note down. Note down. This is important. Everyone just note down. Guys, be quick. Okay. So he used, for animals he used it in Systema Naturae, and for plants he used it in Species Plantarum, right? Species Plantarum. Clear bache? Clear? So I think I should write down the lines. So he means your Carl Linnaeus use nomenclature for animals in Systema Naturae and for plants in Species Plantarum. It is important. And moreover bache, if I talk about the rules, he gave certain rules and principle in book Philosophy Botanica. So basically in this book he mentioned the rules, but for animals he used the nomenclature in Systema Naturae, and for plants he used it in Species Plantarum. So this is important. Okay, this is important. This is what you need to note down. So please include it in your notes, and you guys can send your notes to me on my Telegram, Ambika Sharma. Simply you can type AMBIKA. For Sharma it is SHARMAA. So you can just send me your notes there. Okay. Okay bache, done? Sure? So Philosophia Botanica, basically binomial nomenclature was given there, the principles for it was given there, and for the first time I told you where he used it. Clear bache? So now we will be talking about the rules. Okay, we are going to talk about the rules. Done? So can you tell me about the rules of binomial nomenclature? Can you tell me about the rules of binomial nomenclature? Bache, we will study these rules from NCERT, right? Some points are given there and they can ask you in the paper, question can come from this part. But firstly, let me explain this, right? This is a very common, it's a very common scientific name which is given in our book, Mangifera indica. Right? See, the word is bi here. Right? The word is bi here. Bi means two. So basically two names. Right? We use two names. Okay. So here in the two names we have, first name is the generic name. Firstly, in a very simplified way I will explain you this, and then so first name is the generic name. What is it? It is the generic name. We also use the word genus for it. And when it comes to the second name, it is specific epithet. What is it? It is specific epithet. Okay, and it is basically the species name. So first of all, understand it. So what are we saying? It is binomial nomenclature. Bi means two. So we are going to use two names. The first name, right? The first name is the generic name. The second name is the specific epithet, means the species name. Means the species name. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? Right? So now, so this is the first point. Now second point is language. Second point is what? Second point is language. So which language do we use? We use the language Latin. Latin language, isn't it? Latin language is used. Why is it so? Because it is a dead language. Now what is the meaning of a dead language? That no further changes are there in this particular language. Right? You know that now, color, C-O-L-O-U-R, C-O-L-O-R, as per this English, as per that English, sometimes you know American English, sometimes British English, this and that, so many changes are there. But when we talk about the language Latin, Latin is a dead language, means no further modifications will be there in this particular language. So that is why we use this language for the naming, for the nomenclature. Okay, for the naming, for the nomenclature, that is why we use this particular language. Now, bache, when we write these names, let's say you are typing it, right, in the typed format. When you are typing it, then obviously what we have to do, you have to use the italics. Okay, the font will be italics. It will be written in italics. Very good, bache. It will be written in italics. Now, come to this point. Okay, come to this point. Now I told you that there are two names. First is the generic, another is the specific epithet. So when it is the genus name, first alphabet will be in capitals. Right, first letter rather, not the first alphabet. The word is first letter. The first letter will be in capitals. Okay, rest everything will be in small case. This is basically the upper case. Rest all is the small case, right? When you are talking about the generic name, and when it is the specific epithet, it will be in small letters, right? It will be in small letters. So these are the basic points. So when it is the generic name, first letter will be in capitals, rest will be the small letters or small case. But here in specific epithet, when you are talking about the species name, small letters will be used. Right, and as I said, when you are going to type the name, right, when it is in the typed format, it will be in italics, and if you are going to write it down, while writing it, what we have to do? While writing it, what we have to do? We have to underline it. We have to underline it. But this is not the only thing that you need to know. See, first of all, while writing the, understand it, bache, everything is given in NCERT, all the points are given in NCERT, you need to understand it. So when you talk about the genus name or the generic name, see, you guys can see the first alphabet, it is in first letter, it is in capitals. First letter, it is in capital, rest all small case. Right, and even if you observe it carefully, because I am writing it, so I put this line now, there is one underline, and you have to keep a gap in between your species name and the genus name and the species name, right? So even while writing it or while typing it, there should be a small gap in genus name and species name. Right, bache, in genus name and species name. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes, Pavitra, is that clear? Pavitra is asking, ma'am, when will we have our break? Pavitra, if required, we will keep it at 9. Is that okay? And I don't think there is a requirement for break, because see, till 9 we will finish this, and we need half an hour to finish the taxonomical aid. This chapter is not so lengthy. In less than 3 hours we will be able to finish it. So can we keep break after that? Hai na? So let's finish it in one go. What will we do with that break? Let's finish it in one go. Are you okay? Are you all aligned? Yes. And bache, see, number of students are quite less. Next time I want more than 500, obviously. You'll be like, ma'am, you're too demanding. Obviously I am. because in one marathon in 5 to 6 hours I'm going to finish that particular chapter. So I want the same dedication from your side as well, na? Next chapter will be biological classification. We will go in flow. So this chapter is not so lengthy, but biological classification, that particular chapter is lengthy. Some students are asking, na, who gave the term Monera, 2 kingdom classification, 3 kingdom. We will discuss that in biological classification. So as of now, just focus here, okay? So this is about the binomial nomenclature, Mangifera indica. So this is the genus name, this is the species name, specific epithet it is, okay? This is the species name, specific epithet it is, right, bache? And you know that as per taxonomy, right, when you are going to classify it, it is going to be the basic unit of classification there, right? It is going to be the basic unit. So I told you about the first name, the second name, the language, the typed, in the typed format it should be in italics. When you are writing it, it should be underlined. There should be a small gap in genus name and the specific epithet and the species name. Now one more thing, bache. Now I think not everyone is aware of it. When you talk about the animals, you know this Naza, you know this. So see, when genus, when genus and species name, when genus and species name is same, we use the word tautonyms. What are they? They are tautonyms. What are they? They are tautonyms. What is the meaning of tautonyms? Right, that species and genus name is same. The name of the species and genus is same. The name of the genus and species is same, right? So genus and species name is same. The word that we are going to use is tautonym, right? And do you know one thing, that tautonyms are only allowed in zoological names, or you can say that they are only allowed for animals. They are only allowed for animals. They are not allowed for plants. Like in plants, you will never see things like this, that Mangifera. No, this is not the case. In the case of plants, you will not find. In plants, tautonyms are not there, bache. Tautonyms are not there. I don't know the logic behind, okay, but this is as per rule. This is as per rule. And I think many of you are not aware of it. Isn't it? Isn't it? When it comes to the animals, tautonyms are possible there, like Naza, right, Ratus, okay, but when you talk about the plants, in the case of plants, tautonyms are not there. There is no example of tautonyms, right? There is no example of tautonyms. Okay, so it is as per rule. Fine, bache, it is as per rule. And moreover, you know that, now let's say it's Mangifera indica, means we are talking about the mango here. So after the species name, we can put the author name as well, whosoever described this particular species, like Linnaeus. So Lin dot, right? This is how we have to write it. Okay, this is how we have to write it. Mangifera indica, this is a genus name, the species name, and then you can put the author's name, right? Linnaeus. So Linnaeus described this plant species for the first time. So we will put it like this, Lin dot. Okay, Lin dot. This is the right way. And bache, sometimes, you know, for a same species, we used to have different names. So in that case, we always consider the older name. Rest all are the synonyms. Okay. Let's say there is one species described by different people, or you can say that whosoever described it first, whosoever repeated it first, right? So that first name, the older name will be considered. Firstly, the older name will be considered. Okay, older name will be considered, and the rest all will be the synonyms. Okay, rest all will be the synonyms. No bache, Atif, you have to write it like this only. Okay. Okay, and sometimes, you know, not there are two species name. Sometimes, like I'll give you the example of China rose. Can you tell me the botanical name of China rose? Yes, bache. Let's discuss it now. Let's make the class interactive. So, can you tell me the botanical name of China rose? Yes, botanical name of China rose. Anyone? Tell me the botanical name of China rose. Anyone in the class? botanical name of China rose. Hibiscus rosa sinensis, isn't it? It is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. It is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. So in that case, you put a hyphen in between. You put a hyphen in between. This is the right way to write it. Okay, Hibiscus rosa sinensis it is. What is it, bache? It is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. So you have to put the, what you have to do, you just need to put the hyphen in between. Is that clear? Yes, bache, is that clear? Sure? Bache, these are the rules. These are the rules. Two names are there, na? It is not together. Rosa sinensis, no. No, these are two different names. That is why these rules are there. Fine. So this is about the binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, right? So it was proposed by Casper in his book Phoenix, but basically it was established, all the rules were established by Carolus Linnaeus. So Carolus Linnaeus, for the rules, right, he published the principles of this particular nomenclature in his book, right? He published principles of nomenclature in his book, right, in his book Philosophia Botanica, but for animals he used it for the first time in Systema Naturae, and for plants he used it in the Species Plantarum. Is that clear? Is that clear? So now let's revise the rules from the NCERT, bache. So here you guys can see, let's have a look. So here you guys can see, so biologists follow universally accepted principles to avoid this to provide the scientific names to the non-organism. So there are two components. First is the generic name, also known as genus, and second is the specific epithet, also known as species. So it is also a PYQ. This question has been asked in the NEET previous year paper, that species is also known as, right? So it is specific epithet. What is it? It is specific epithet, right? Right? Okay. Okay, so this system of providing a name with two component is binomial nomenclature given by Carl Linnaeus. Clear, bache? Clear, bache? So these are the rules. So you know that these names are written in the language Latin, right? And it is written in italics. Okay, so they are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. Irrespective of the origin, what are we going to do? Which language are we going to use? We are going to use the language Latin, right? So the first word will represent genus, the second component will denote the specific epithet. Okay, bache? So when you are going to when handwritten, they are separately underlined. So separately underlined means there should be a gap in genus name and the species name, and while printing it should be in italics. Okay, okay, it should be in italics. Is that clear? No, 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 that is not the trinomial nomenclature future word. Rosa and sinensis, they are two different words. So that is why we are putting a hyphen there. Okay, that is why we are putting a hyphen there. Okay, so here one example is given. So name of the author appears after the specific epithet, that is at the end of biological name, and it is written in abbreviated form. So you are not allowed to write the complete Linnaeus there. You are not allowed to write the complete Linnaeus there. Okay, okay. So you can see here, so it will be in abbreviations like I told you, LINN dot. Clear, bache? LINN dot. Okay, okay, done. So since it is nearly impossible, so about the classification I told you already. So tell me, up to this part all clear? Yes, up to this part all clear. So now you understand what taxonomy is, what is the meaning of systematics, what is the difference in taxonomy and systematics, right? So bache, in the upcoming chapter we will even talk about, the what? We are even going to discuss the natural system, the artificial system, Bentham and Hooker classification. These are the points that we are going to discuss. But before proceeding ahead, I'll tell you about the different types of taxonomy, right? So now you know in general what is the meaning of taxonomy. So there are different types, like we have the chemotaxonomy, we even have the cytotaxonomy, We even have the numerical taxonomy, and there are different other names also, right? Do you know that there are different other names also? Are you getting it? There are different types of taxonomy, okay? So like see, when it is chemotaxonomy, so obviously here we are going to focus on certain chemicals, right? If the word is chemotaxonomy, of course we are going to focus on certain chemicals, especially in the case of plants. So in the case of plants, how do we classify it? On the basis of the chemicals, like on the basis of certain alkaloids, flavonoids, right? Which chemical is present in which plant, right? So the related plants will be kept together like this, okay? And when it is the cytotaxonomy, you know that cyto word is associated with the cell, isn't it? Cyto word is associated with the cell. So when for classification, right, when for classification we use the features of cell, like here we study the chromosome structure, chromosome number in meiosis, right? In meiosis we are going to see all that chromosome, their structure. We are going to study the aspects related to the cell, and then we will use it for the classification. So it is going to be the cytotaxonomy, right? It is going to be the cytotaxonomy. And then is the numerical taxonomy, which is also known as phonetics, right? Which is also known as phonetics, numerical taxonomy. Here you put some numbers on the observable characters. You are going to put some numbers. You are going to use the computers for that, right? Each and every character will be numbered. So there are different types of taxonomy. So as of now, I'm just telling you 3 names here. So I have added the definitions as well. You guys can see here. So when it is the cytotaxonomy, branch of biology dealing with the relationship and classification of organisms using comparative study of chromosomes during meiosis. So what are we studying in the cytotaxonomy? The chromosomes, right? What are we studying in the cytotaxonomy? The chromosomes, okay? It is the comparative study of the chromosome during meiosis. And then bache, it is the chemotaxonomy, right? When it is the chemotaxonomy, the word is chemical. So here you can see it is the classification and identification of organisms based on fundamental similarities and dissimilarities in their biochemical makeup, right? On the basis of chemical constituents, we are going to separate it. So it's a biological characterization of plants and animals based on molecular similarities and dissimilarities. Any doubt here, bache? Any doubt here? Any doubt here? And next is numerical taxonomy. As I said, so it is the branch of taxonomy that helps to classify the organisms based on their differences and similarities, again by using mathematical methods, okay, like assigning number to the characters. So this numerical taxonomy, also known as phonetics, right? I don't remember exactly, but maybe we also use the word taximetrics for it. I have to check it, right? I have to check it. Clear? So it also helps in studying the lineages and evolution in the organism. So up to this part, if there is any doubt, please let me know, kids. Please let me know. And your energy should be high, okay? Your energy should be high, okay? We are about to finish this particular chapter, trust me. We are about to finish this particular chapter. Like in less than 1 hour, we will finish it. Fine? Okay? So any doubt? But you're loving it or not? Or and are you getting anything extra? I know some of you are droppers. You might be studying this chapter for the 2nd time or the 3rd time. So are you getting anything extra, the better clarity or whatever it is? Yes, whatever it is. Let's have a 1-minute break and let's chit chat. Notes, but I will provide it in the Telegram group, okay? But Birbal, again, this is my suggestion. Although I will share the PDF with you all, but please make your own notes. Please make your own notes. Okay, now you have sufficient time. If you guys utilize your time now properly, or you can say that if you justify your each day, then trust me, you will complete your syllabus, you will revise it 3 to 4 times, you will even give the mock test, you will even be able to practice the questions, and you will get good marks. trust me, you will get very good marks. I am coming to that, Chandan. Now we will talk about the Texa and everything. Test. Arey, we have just started the chapter. So why are you talking about the test? We will come to that Texa, Texan. We will discuss these words also. But as of now, tell me whatever we have completed so far. If there is any doubt, just let me know about that. Right? Can you please take 12th and 11th syllabus simultaneously? Although it's a good idea, we'll try to. But bache, I'm not just on YouTube now. I have to teach in Avengers batch. I have to teach in NEET Energized batch as well. And honestly, we are much more I won't say that we are only focused in that batches, but yes, we are very much focused there. Even on YouTube, that is why we have decided like we will dedicate single day and we will complete one chapter properly from basic to advanced level. So now one student is again asking for the comma patient. So bache, in the case of humans, we cannot just define on the basis of few points. Like normally, if I'll ask you, you are not going to say that comma patient is a dead person, isn't it? Although that person is not having the self-awareness, but still you cannot say that that person is a dead person. Brain is still functional. Machines are taking place. Machines are playing the role of lungs, the role of your heart, but still you cannot say that person is a dead. This is what I'm asking from you. And even in biology terms, whenever a person is brain dead, we consider that person as dead only, right? Machines are doing the work there. But GD Academy is asking, ma'am, AP full name. But I don't remember. Seriously, GD Academy, right now I don't remember. I'll check it, I'll get back to you. So it is very difficult in the case of humans to define that, it becomes a very critical to define that comma patient is living or dead, because honestly, let's forget the biology. You're not going to say that that person is dead. You cannot say so. Isn't it? You cannot say so. But if we talk about that brain dead or something on the other terms, then we can say, machines are taking place all the roles. That person is not having the self-awareness. So it's kind of, ma'am, I energized and now I'm confused. How can I ask my doubts with a particular educator? So, Bache Srinath, you can post your doubts in the Telegram group, and even we keep separate sessions for the doubts as well. Like we have completed cell cycle and cell division on Monday. Guys, on Monday, let me tell you, anyone can join it on Monday on Unacademy platform. At 4 p.m. Right, I have kept one special class, and that special class is free for all. And in that special class, there will be the question practice of the chapter cell cycle and cell division. Okay. There will be the question practice of cell cycle and cell division. So anyone can join it. Okay, anyone can join it. It is free for all. Even if you are not the student of Unacademy platform, still you guys can join it. So basically tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'm going to take the special class on cell cycle and cell division. So all your doubts will be solved here. So we will plan such session. You can ask your doubts there. And one more question is there, ma'am. Bache, growth and reproduction is not the defining properties. These are the characteristic features. Bache, Avengers batch we started early on 25th of May, and now when it comes to the NEET Energized batch, it is for those who are taking admission now. Okay, Abhisha? Sumati, we will try to, okay? So now let's come to the next part, that is classification. Now break time is over, now let's talk about the classification. So now you understand the meanings of characterization, the identification, right? So now when it comes to the classification, we need to understand few things, and that is first is taxonomical hierarchy or taxonomical categories. What we need to understand first, taxonomical hierarchy or taxonomical categories. But it's not like that. See, I told you that the important thing is, right, I just told you the important thing is to classify the organisms. Why classification is important? Because it can simplify our understanding, right? It can simplify our learning. If we want to know about so many organisms, and if we classify them properly, if we put them in a systematic manner, right, or obviously by reading few characters we will get to know about so many organisms. So classification is something very important, and for classification all that principles, that procedure, that rules we study in the taxonomy. Now we have something called taxonomical hierarchy, and in this taxonomical hierarchy we have taxonomical categories. What do we have? We have taxonomical categories, and bache we have seven broad taxonomical categories, or you can say that these are the obligate categories, right? Obligate categories. I'll explain you the meaning. So first of all, the word that you need to understand is that, ma'am, what is the meaning of category? Like, see, right, what is the meaning of category? Category is just like a rank in that hierarchy, right? Try to understand this, right? Try to understand this, that whenever we talk about the category, so basically category is just like the rank, right? What is category? Category is just like the rank. It represents the rank, bache. Basically it is a kind of unit of classification in that particular hierarchy, right? It is the kind of unit of classification in that hierarchy. It referred to as rank. I'll explain it. Wait. Referred as rank. You even use the word taxon for it. Taxon singular or taxa is for plural. Let me explain this. Okay. So category, basically it is the unit of classification. It is even referred to as rank or taxon or taxa. Now, what is the meaning of this particular statement? Like, let's say you go to any of the organization. You know that there will be the managing directors, the CEO, this and that, different posts are there. Let's take the example of a school only. Okay, so in a school there will be the principal, there will be the vice principal, right? Proper board will be there, management will be there, the teachers will be there, the students will be there, the other staff which will take care of other things, right? So you know that different people are there, and they all will contribute to run that organization. They are going to help there, right? They are going to help there, isn't it? You just don't have the teachers only in the schools. No, for proper management we need the management there. We need people there to manage the things. Yes or no? So same is the case here. So now when you want to classify the organisms, when you want to put it in a when you are going to put them in a proper groups now, right? On the basis of their similarities, on the basis of their differences, you will put them together or you will put them separately. So you will make one hierarchy, right? So here we are calling it as taxonomical hierarchy. What are we calling? We are calling it as taxonomical hierarchy, and we always mention things here in descending order, right? In the descending order we mention it, that hierarchy is in the descending order. So in that hierarchy, right, whatever rank we have, like now I'm saying principal, vice principal, right, teacher, students. So here we are having different ranks, or we are having different categories, like kingdom, like phylum, like class. So for each of that category, we use the word taxon for singular or taxa for plural. Now are you able to understand? One student was asking it, right? Now bache, are you able to understand it? Yes? Are you able to understand it? Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you getting it? So this is the meaning of category, this is the meaning of taxa, or we even refer it as rank. Okay, we even refer it as rank. So I am saying that there are 7 broad taxonomical categories. These are the obligate categories. These are the categories that we are going to consider for sure. But other than these categories, we have some other categories also. Okay, so what are that 7 broad categories? And always remember, we write it in descending order. So we used to mention it now, kingdom, just a minute, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and the species, isn't it? And the species. So what do we have? Kingdom, phylum, class, order, right? Family, genus, species. And how can you remember it, bache? There is a trick for it, na? Very simple trick it is. So keep pot clean, or family gets sick. Keep pot clean or family gets sick. You can use this one also. King play cards on flat green stool, whatever, right? So keep pot clean or family gets sick. So keep, K stands for kingdom, P stands for phylum, C stands for class, or order, family, genus means G, gets means G, genus, and sick means species, right? So these are the 7 broad taxonomical categories, bache. So question can come from this part also. That which are the 7 broad taxonomical categories. So these are the 7 broad or obligate taxonomical categories, right? 7 broad or obligate taxonomical categories. We have other categories also. We even talk about the subphylum, we even talk about the subclass, we even talk about the superclass, superfamily, isn't it? But these are 7 broad categories. So they are in descending order. So this kingdom, right? The kingdom, the topmost one. Okay, so species, the basic unit of classification here. The species, the basic unit of classification here. So on the basis of characters, similarity and dissimilarity, we put them in different taxa in different categories. So up to this part, if there is any doubt, do let me know. So now you got it, why I just said that category is the unit of classification. These are basically the different ranks, right? These are basically the different ranks, right? But a tribe is not the part of 7 broad categories. Nope. Clear? So up to this part, all clear? Now bache, let's take one more example, right? So kingdom, phylum, class, order. So you have to remember it in this sequence: family, genus, and species. So what I just said, that it is the species which is the basic unit of classification. It is the species which is basic unit of classification. This is how we keep it, bache. This is how we keep it, yes or no? Yes or no? So it is the species, as I said, which is the basic unit of classification, right? Right, we will talk about the species. And the term species, it was given by John Ray. Remember John Ray, he gave it. The term species, it was given by John Ray. Now, I'll keep a very simple example. I'll keep the example of kingdom Animalia. Phylum, Arthropoda. Class, Insecta. Order, let's say Diptera. Right now I'm not mentioning any family, genus and species, just giving you one example. Now bache, when you talk about kingdom Animalia, and here I told you na, kingdom, phylum, class, order, everything. But for plants, we use the word division. For the plants, for classification of the plants, we do not use the word phylum, we use the word division. This is what you need to remember. Okay, so for the plants, instead of phylum, we use the word divisions. We use the word division. Done? Okay? Okay. So now, here, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. Now, when you talk about the animals, right? Let's talk about the kingdom Animalia. I'll give you one very simple example. Just talk about the kingdom Animalia. Like we are talking about the animals here. So now you know that we have different animals. Your hydra, Aurelia, cockroach, earthworm, frog, snake, sparrow, squirrel. They are animals, yes or no? Are they animals? Yes, bacha. Are they animals? Yes or no? They all are animals, na? Guys, be quick, be quick. Are you all sleepy? Arey bache, by 10 we will finish it. See, after so long I'm taking your class. After so long I'm taking your class. So guys, show some energy. Literally, show some energy. Show some energy. And just hit the like button. If you are new to our channel, subscribe our channel and just hit the like button for more such sessions. See, next session is going to be more amazing. In the next session, we are going to talk about the biological classification. Okay, we will be discussing the biological classification, and in one go, we will complete that chapter. So see, after that particular chapter, we will start the plant kingdom. So we really need your energy, your support, that yes ma'am, we are all ready for these marathons, because we started the batch on YouTube as per your request, right? Many students were like, we cannot afford the Avengers batch or the Energized batch, please start teaching on YouTube as well. So that is why we are doing it. Okay, so guys, interact, please interact and show some energy and hit the like button. It should be more than 500. Okay, so see, now I'm giving you the example of animalia. Okay, so I'm saying when you are talking about the animals, you have different example. In animals, we even talk about, when I'm using the word animal, humans are also the animals, frog is also an animal, right? Snake, earthworm, sparrow, parrot, whatever it is, they all are animal, isn't it? Isn't it? They all are animals, isn't it? Isn't it? They all are the part of kingdom Animalia. Okay, so when you use the kingdom Animalia, you are considering the organisms which are, having similarities. Obviously, which are having similarities. Matlab, some features are same there. So on the basis of certain general characters, you are going to consider them. Right. Like if I have to put something in kingdom Animalia, I will look for some characters, and that characters will be some general characters. That okay, if you have these general characters, you are moving, or not just the movement, because some animals are even immobile. We will discuss the examples in the animal kingdom. So we are going to consider certain characters. We used to call it as general characters, that these are the general characters. If you have that characters, you will be in kingdom Animalia. There are certain characters, if you have that characters, you will be in kingdom Fungi. These are the characters, if you have that characters, you will be in the kingdom Plantae. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? So there will be certain general characters. There will be certain general characters. One thing. Now, next point. Now let's say, now I am observing that I am checking it out, and I am like, let's take any example like flies and mosquitoes. They are quite similar. This is what I am checking now. That when I see the structure of flies and mosquitoes, they are showing the similarities. Or let's say I am saying that when I am checking the Hydra or the Aurelia, even they are showing the similarities. So this is what I observed. I observed that in some organisms there are some general characters, right, which is connecting them. Okay, which is connecting them as in like which is showing some similarities, the general characters. But then in that animals, right, when I'll analyze it more, so I'll see more specific characters as in more similarities. Like I just gave you one example, that flies and mosquitoes, they are quite similar. If I compare a fly with Hydra, obviously there will be major changes, right? The characters are not going to be similar, they will be different. You can say some general characters are same, but mostly they are going to be different. But if you compare the flies with the mosquito, you will see more similarities, right? So on the basis of that, there is this hierarchy. On the basis of that, we are having this hierarchy. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So when we move from kingdom to species, like down, like this, when we move from kingdom to species, what is going to happen, bache? What is going to happen? The general character, it's a question, please write it properly. General characters decrease and similar characters or similarities increase. Similar characters, or you can say that similar characters or specific characters increase. Are you getting it? So when you are moving from kingdom to species, general characters will be less, they will decrease, right? And the similar characters will increase, they will be more. And when you move from species to kingdom, similar characters, they will decrease, the similarities decrease, right? And the general character will increase, isn't it? General character will increase, isn't it? So are you getting it? Yes or no? Are you getting it? Right? So kingdom Animalia in general, all that general characters. When it is phylum Arthropoda, now we are specifying that we are talking about the organisms having the jointed appendages. Now when it is the class Insecta, so we are talking about the organisms having that exoskeleton of chitin, having that antenna, that pair of legs, that division of body, everything we are going to consider, right? When we are talking about the dipterans, we are talking about that flies. So when we come down, when we move down from kingdom to species, we talk about more about the similarities and less about the general characters, right? So that is how the hierarchies we have, that is how we have these taxonomical hierarchies. So up to this part all clear, right? Exactly, this shows lower the taxa, higher is the similar character, lower the taxa, more will be the similar characters. Clear, bache? Clear? So these things are given here, these things are written here, the rice, the plants, so all the names, the categories, these words are described here. Okay, so let's read it from NCERT, and then the last topic that we need to discuss will be the taxonomical aid. So by 10, maximum by 10, we will be able to finish this session, right? So here you guys can see, so based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa, right? On the basis of their characters only, we are going to classify them in different taxas. So the process of classification is what? It is the taxonomy. So kids, do you have any doubt here? Yes, everyone? Any doubt? So external and internal structures along with the structure of cell, developmental process, ecological information, everything will be considered for the modern taxonomical study. So question can come from this particular part, right? This statement can make our MCQ. So what do we consider? In modern taxonomical studies? We even consider the external and internal characters. Like bache, earlier they used to focus on morphological characters only, right? We have different systems of classification. In very early systems, they used to check, like let's talk about the Aristotle. I hope you remember this, that Aristotle just checked the blood color, red blood cells without blood, with blood. Remember? Even then later on we check the cell type. So you know that there are different ways of classification. So earlier they used to consider certain morphological characters. Then we have better system of classification where all the gross morphological characters were considered. Then internal characters were also considered. So obviously with the time, right? With the time we improved. Okay, so as of now here when we are talking about the modern taxonomic studies, so we are saying that external and internal structure along with the structure of cell, the developmental process and ecological information, even ecological information will also be considered for the modern taxonomical studies. So if you will get this question in papers, you can simply mention structure of cell, external internal structure, developmental process, but you will not focus on word ecological information. So even ecological information is also considered for that. Okay, even the ecological information is also considered for the same. So this is a very important question. Okay, done. So characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature, these are the processes that are basic to taxonomy. Okay, I told you already about it, isn't it? Chicken it is. What is it? Chicken it is. So basic to taxonomy is what? It is chicken. Okay, it is chicken. So, so you know that taxonomy is not something new. Human beings, they are always interested in knowing more and more about the various kind of organisms. Right, bache? Right, bache? So, even earlier we also used to classify the organism, but on the basis of our usage, that this is what we can use, this is what we can eat, from this we can get the benefit. Okay, so even the systematics I have already explained you. In the systematics we consider the evolutionary relationship. So Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication, right, as the title of his publication. So word systematic is derived from the Latin word systema, which means a systematic arrangement of organisms. So Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. So this is important MCQ. So bache, after the class you should practice the MCQ and practice at least 100 questions from this chapter. Okay. Okay, so scope of systematics were later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, classification. Okay, so here in systematics we consider the evolutionary relationship, again a very important point. Okay, evolutionary relationship in the systematics. I hope it is clear to you. So now the taxonomical categories. So here you can see each category referred to as a unit of classification represent a rank, and that is commonly termed as taxon. So plural is taxa, singular is taxon. Any doubt here? Plural is taxa, singular is taxon. Any doubt here, bache? Yes? Any doubt here? Any doubt? Sure? Sure? So see, they are giving one example here that insects, they represent a group of organisms. Insects, they represent the group of organisms sharing common features, right? So individually to each hierarchy, so individually to each category, you can use the word taxa. For each rank, you can use the word taxa. Taxon is for singular, taxa is for plural. Okay? Okay? So insects, so when you use the word insects, you are talking about a common group of organisms, right? So they will be having 3 pairs of jointed legs. Okay? Okay? So whenever I'll use the word insect, one thing will be clear in your head, phylum is Arthropoda, and here we are talking about the 3 pairs of jointed legs, right? 3 pairs of jointed legs. Okay? So groups, they also represent category. So category further denotes the rank. So I have already explained you this part. Fine, I have already explained you this part. Fine, bache. So taxonomical studies, you know that, right, they led to the development of common categories like kingdom, phylum or division for plants, classes, order, family and genus. Right, bache? Right, bache. So it is the species which is the lowest category, which is the basic unit of classification. Clear? Clear? So note it down in your notes. So it is the species which is the lowest category, lowest taxa, and what is it? The basic unit of classification. What is it? The basic unit of classification. Is that clear? Is that clear, bache? Yes? Right? So now let's start with the word species. So species, the term was given by John Ray. The term was given by John Ray. So can you define species? Can you define species? Bache, I'll explain tribe, subclass. Priya, I will explain everything. But please focus here. So now when it comes to the species, you know that, don't you think that species is a kind of isolated unit? Yes, bacho. Yes, Pavitra. Don't you think that when we talk about the word species, that species is a kind of, right? Species is a kind of isolated unit. Don't you think so, bache? Tell me. No doubt it is the smallest category, the lowest category, the basic unit, but don't you think so? Don't you think so? Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Yes? I am saying that it is a kind of isolated unit. Yes, how? Exactly. So now, as I said, species term was given by John Ray. It is the lowest taxa, right? So now species is having what? The group of individuals. The group of individuals having morphological similarity. They are the group of individual. It's a complete group. See, bache, hierarchy is not a one-step process. In the hierarchy, I told you there will be different categories. There will be different ranks. For categories, we are using the word rank or the word taxa. First point clear? This is what we are using. So for each rank, we even consider it as a proper group. Like if I talk about the species, which is the lowest taxa, which is the lowest taxon rather, right, which is the lowest taxon. So in the species, we will be having the group of individual which are sharing the similarities, the maximum similarities. Morphologically, they will be so same, right? Morphological similarities will be there, right? Right. So we humans are so similar. I'm not saying same. I'm using the word similar. Ek jaisa, similar. Right. Our morphological characters are more similar. You will, if you compare a human with a monkey, with a chimpanzee, with a dog, obviously humans, right? Humans will be having more similarity because we belong to the same species. Isn't it? We belong to the same species. Isn't it, bache? Yes or no? Guys, show some energy. Yes or no? Okay, is that clear? So species, among species, what are we going to consider? We are going to consider the group of individuals that can interbreed among themselves and can produce fertile organisms, isn't it? This is the main point. They can interbreed among themselves and can produce fertile organisms. Whatever organisms will be produced, they will also be fertile, isn't it? They will also be fertile, right? 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 So, can we say that, so species is the reproductively isolated unit because individual of same species, they reproduce among themselves. They are more compatible. They reproduce among themselves, isn't it? Isn't it? They reproduce among themselves. So we can say that it is a kind of genetically isolated system. These are the lines that I'm using for the species. So what am I saying? That when it comes to the species, it is reproductively isolated unit. It is the reproductively isolated unit. Right? Reproductively isolated. And obviously, if it is reproductively isolated, it is going to be genetically closed. Right? Among the members of species only there will be the genetic exchange. Humans are not exchanging their genes with some other species. This is the meaning of this particular point. Right? This is the meaning of this particular point. And species, the individuals which belong to same species, right, they will be having similar morphological, anatomical, biochemical characters. Right? Group of individuals having similar morphological, anatomical, biochemical, characters. Done? Done? So this is what species is. So let's revise it here from NCERT. So taxonomical studies consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities. I explained you what similarities are we discussing here. So one should be able to distinguish one species from other closely related species based on the distinct morphological differences. Right? So here we are talking about one example, Mangifera indica, we are talking about the mango here. Solanum tuberosum, we are talking about the potato here. Panthera leo, we are talking about the lion here. So these are, right, that indica, that tuberosum, these are the species basically. Right? These are the species basically. Mangifera indica, Mangifera is the genus name, indica is the species name. Here you are talking about the mango, right? What are you talking? You are talking about the mango. And then comes the Solanum tuberosum, right? Solanum tuberosum. Here we are talking about what? We are talking about the potato, and this is the mango. So obviously they are different, right? So Mangifera indica, they all are the same individuals. Not the same individuals, basically same species. Two different mangoes, same species, right? Right, Mangifera, one is also the Mangifera indica, another will also be the Mangifera indica. Solanum tuberosum, the potato we are discussing. So potato and mango is not same, even their species are different. So this is what you need to understand, bache. Okay, this is what you people need to understand. And Panthera leo is lion, and even we have the Panthera tigris. We have the Panthera tigris, that will be the tiger. Now see, let's talk about that also. When it is Panthera tigris and when it is Panthera leo. Now tigris means tiger, leo, you are talking about the lion here. Now my point is, let's say you are having two different tigers, right? This is tiger number 1. This is a tiger basically. My tiger looks like that only. My sky is pink. Okay, two tigers. And here we are having the lion. Right? So these two are the tigers. Lions. Fine? Fine? I know they are looking like a cat or a rat or whatever it is, but my sky is pink, my tiger looks like that. Right now you just understand my concept. Right now you just understand my concept, okay? So all I'm saying is, so obviously when you will compare these two organisms, they'll be more similar. I'm not saying they will be same. They are not the twins. Basically they will show the similarities. Like if you compare this one with this one, this one with this one. Now let's say you are comparing A with D, or you are comparing A with B. So A and B, they'll be similar, they'll be more similar, they will be having more similarities in comparison of similarities in between A and D, of course, because they belong to the same species, Panthera tigris. Now Panthera leo, they are showing the similarities. Now bache, this is about the species, Now you know, let's move from species to the genus level. Let's move from species to the genus level. Okay, species to the genus level. Let's move like this. Now when you say, now see, Panthera, both genus are same. Here genus is same. Both the genus are same here. Yes, bache. Panthera. Right? Panthera. Now let's take the example of some another genus, Felis. Another genus is Felis. Now if you compare any individual, if you compare two individuals that are having same genus, and now if you are comparing these individual with a different genus, obviously tiger and lion, they are having more similarities. If you compare it with a cat, right, tiger and lion will have more similarities in comparison of the similarities in between the cat and the lion, right. So when we move from species to genus, the similarities, they will decrease, right? This is the fact. And when you compare the individuals, organisms of the same genus, still they will show more similarity if you compare it with the genus of another, if you compare it with another genus. Okay? Done? Like Mangifera indica and Solanum tuberosum, they will have less similarities, but Solanum tuberosum and Solanum melangena, they will have more similarities. Isn't it? Right, Chandan? Now you got it? Like Solanum nigerum, Solanum tuberosum, they will have more similarities than Solanum nigerum and Mangifera indica. So this is also the point, right? So here, firstly, let's talk about the species. So all the three names, right? Indica, Tibrosum and Leo, I told you these are the specific epithet species, right bache? And here, each genus may have one or more than one specific epithets representing different organism but having morphological similarity. So what is the meaning of this particular statement? So you know that each genus can have more than one species. Obviously Panthera tigris, Panthera leo, one genus is having more than one species, and obviously they will be having the morphological similarities then. That is why morphological similarities are there in the tiger as well, in the lion as well. Okay, in the tiger as well, in the lion as well. Clear bache? So Solanum includes species like Nigerum and the Melangena. So human beings belong to the species Sapien, which is grouped in the genus Homo. So we are Homo sapiens. We are Homo sapiens. These are the examples. So now when you talk about the genus, so genus will comprise a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to the species of other genera. Is it so? Is it so, Shri Harsha? We are saying that genus is going to comprise a group of related species which has more characters in similar, right? Which has more characters in common in comparison to the species of other genera. Like see, this is how you have to understand species, then comes the genus, then comes the family, then comes the order. This is how we have now, then comes the class. Right. So obviously when you are talking about the genus, you are saying group of related species. This is the word, group of related species. Now move to the family. Above genus we have the family. Above genus we have the family. So can we say that family is the group of related genus? Family is the group of related genus. Can we say so? Now move to the order. Can we say that order is the group of related families? Some families which are related, which are still having some, right, some common characters. We are going to keep them in the same. We are going to keep them in the same order like this. Like this you have to move. So when you talk about the genus, so it is the group of related species having some characters in common, right? Like when you talk about the Panthera, so Panthera is having one species as Tigris, another species as Leo. So these species are still having some common characters. That is why we are keeping it in same genus, right? Right? So this is the meaning of this particular statement. So we can say that genera, they are the aggregates of closely related species. Got it? Got it? Do we need to explain it in detail now, Dishoj? Right? So can we say that family is the group of related genera, order is the group of related families, class is the group of related orders, like this? Okay, like this. So see, potato and brinjal, they are two different species, but both are having the same genus, that is Solanum. So question can be asked, potato and brinjal, they belong to which genus? Solanum it is, right? So now Panthera leo, Panthera leopard, for leopard it is Paradus, Panthera paradus. So bache, note it down, note down these names. Whatever zoological or botanical names are given in your book in this chapter, please note down. Please note down, right? Mention these names in your notes. They can even ask you in your NEET paper that what is the zoological name of leopard, or write down the classification of leopard, right? Write down the classification of leopard. So that is how you have to proceed. Fine, bache. And next is the tigris. I told you already about it, Panthera tigris. So they are having several common features, right? So that is why they all are in genus Panthera. Okay. So this genus differ from other genus like Felis, and Felis is going to include the cats, I told you. Now come to the family. So when it comes to the family, the next category is family. So as I said, it is having group of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to the genus and species. This line is clear now? Now you are moving above. Now from species, when you move towards the kingdom, the similar characters decrease, the general character increase. So genus and species and genus will be having more similarities in comparison to its similarity with the family. So this is the meaning here. Okay, bache, this is the meaning here. So next category, family, has a group of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to genus and species, right? So now on the basis of that, we can have another question. Which one is having more similarities, genus and species or family and species? Obviously genus and species. Which of them is having more similarities, class and species or genus and species? Of course genus and species it is, right? Of course genus and species it is. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes everyone? So that is what you need to understand, okay? Right? So families, they are characterized on the basis of both for vegetative characters as well and the reproductive features as well. So this is important point and an important question as well. Fine bache, it's a very important question, right? So how do we categorize, how do we classify organisms in different families? We consider their vegetative characters as well, we consider their reproductive characters as well. We consider their vegetative characters as well, we consider their reproductive characters as well when we talk about the plants. So plants may, we have the example Solanum, Petunia, Dhatura, they all are different genus, but they all are the part of family Solanaceae. So again, as I said, please note it down in your notes. I want you people to write all the points in your notes. Okay? Okay? Clear bacha? Clear? So see, different genus, because they are different, but still they have some similarities. That is why we are keeping it in family. So what are we checking in the case of plants? The vegetative and the reproductive characters. Vegetative and the reproductive characters. Done bache? Done bache? So among animals, for examples, the genus Panthera comprises lion, tiger, leopard, right bache? So Felis in the family, Felidae. So see, these examples are important. So genus Panthera, lion, tiger, leopard, they all, and even the genus Felis, they all are the part of family Felidae. So you should know this classification. You should know this classification, right? Right, but we will talk about, but suffix, prefix which we use in the starting, suffix which we use at the end, right? Like for the family, right? See, very common example is Solanaceae, A-C-E-A-E. So for the family, here the suffix is this, na, Solanaceae. For plants, I am telling you right now, A-C-E-A-E. Same way, Apocynaceae, right? Right? Fine? Fine? Got it? So this is the suffix here. Done? So now here they are also quoting the examples of two different families like cat and dog, right? Cat belongs to the family Felidae, dogs belong to the family Canidae, right? So now these are two different families. Obviously they will have less similarities, but still in comparison to other families they have more. So we are going to put it in same what? Same order. Right, in the same order. So that is the point. So see, order, these are the categories like species, genus, families, they are based on number of similar characters. So generally order and other higher taxonomic characters, they are identified based on aggregates of characters, right? So in species, genus and families, you are looking for the similarities. On the basis of that, you are putting it there in the order. You will not just see one character, you will see many characters. You will see many characters. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Okay. Okay, so order being a higher category is the assemblage of families. It is the group of families which exhibit few similar characters. So now we are using the word few. Now we are not expecting there will be too much of similarities. No, because I told you already, species to kingdom, similarities will decrease. So few similarities, right? Like let's say you are moving from genus to family, you know that number of similarities, 10 similarities are there. Okay, family to order, now the similarities will be 6 only. Order to class, similarities will be 3 only. So now you will look for the aggregate of characters. You will look for the aggregate of characters. Okay. Okay, so similar characters are less in number as compared to the different genera included in a family. So plant families like Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae, they are all are included in same order, that is Polymoniales. So bache, these things are important for MCQs, so please make separate notes for it. Read this chapter like you are reading it for the last time before your NEET 2024, right? Whatever chapters you are attending, even if you are attending my session, Wasim sir session, HSP sir session, Shreya sir session, just read it in a way that you are doing it for the last time. Your note should be the final one. Okay, done. So in order Carnivora, we are placing these families like Felidae and Canidae, because here we will focus on the characters, aggregate of characters. Then comes the class, so it will be having related orders bache. So order Primata, you know that it will be having monkeys, gorillas, gibbons, they all are, right? Order Primata, which is having monkeys, gorilla, gibbons, they all are the part of class Mammalia, right? Even the order Carnivora is also the part of Mammalia, right bache, right? So same as the phylum, so classes comprises animals like fishes, amphibians, reptile, birds, they all are placed in same phylum. So you know na, phylum Chordata. So remember phylum Chordata. So phylum Chordata will be having superclass Tetrapoda, it will be having class Amphibia, right? It will be having your class Reptilia, aves and mammals. So now the similar characters are less, but general characters are increasing. So are you getting it, bache? Are you getting it? So in case of plants, we use the word division instead of phylum, and then comes the kingdom, bache. So all animals belonging to different phyla, they all are assigned to the highest category. So the highest category is what? It is the kingdom, bache. Okay, and in kingdom Plantae on the other hand is distinct and comprises all the plants from various divisions. Fine. So these are 7 broad categories. And here in this figure, they are shown in ascending order. Acha, they are in ascending order or in descending order here? They are in ascending order or in descending order here? See, why are they using the word ascending order, bache? Because of this arrow, right? So descending order means, you know that firstly we will keep kingdom, then the phylum, then the class, then the order. Okay, so do not get confused. So when it is the ascending order means you are starting from the species, right? You are starting from the species when you are talking about the ascending order, and when you are talking about the descending order, you are starting from the kingdom. Just a minute, bache. Done? Okay. So taxonomic categories from species to kingdom, they have been in ascending order. See, when it is species to kingdom, but if it is from kingdom to species, then this will be the descending order. Now fine, bache. Okay. So here, when I was telling you about the descending order, so in descending order I am writing it like this: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So do not get confused here. Okay, fine. So bache, last topic that we need to discuss is your taxonomical aid, and before that, please make sure that you remember it. Okay, make sure that you remember it. Fine, just make sure. This table is important. See, here they are talking about the man. So biological name is Homo sapiens. So the genus here is Homo, right? It is not written properly, but you know that kingdom is Animalia, phylum is Chordata, class is Mammalia, order is Primata, right? Order is Primata, family is Hominidae, genus is Homo, and then comes the species name, that is Sapiens. Okay, so here also for the housefly, you know, once there was a PYQ, they were asking the family of housefly. So whatever is given in NCERT, kindly do not miss it, do not skip it. So here you can see Arthropoda, Insecta, Diptera, Massidae, Musca domestica. right? Musca domestica. So that's your homework. You have to remember it, and once it's done, do mention it in the comment section of this video that yes ma'am, we are done with the chapter, we are done with the notes, we are done with everything. Fine. Fine. Next topic is very simple, very easy, taxonomical aids. Taxonomical aids means here we are talking about the help. Here we are talking about the help. So now you know that what is taxonomy, right? In the taxonomy, what are we discussing? We are talking about the principles and procedures that are going to help us in the identification, classification and the nomenclature, right? That are going to help us there, right? The principles and rules which we are going to use for this identification, classification and nomenclature. Now when it comes to the taxonomical aids, here you are talking about the tools which will be helpful in that taxonomy. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So here you are going to talk about the tools, right? As the show said, the techniques that are going to, okay, so these things are going to help in that taxonomy. Fine. These things are going to help in that taxonomy. So taxonomical studies of various species of plants, animal and other organisms, you know that it is very helpful in agriculture, forestry, industry and in general in knowing our bioresources and their diversity. These things are important, and you know that various plants, even the animals, they are so useful. We are having the therapeutic uses. We can use them for making the medicines, right? We can use them for making the medicines, isn't it? Isn't it? Yes or no? Yes or no? So these studies would require correct classification and identification of organism. So identification require lab, field studies and the collection of actual specimens of plant and animal. It is essential, right? And it will be the prime source of taxonomic studies, right? You know na, in the lab also we used to have museums where, you know, specimens are kept. I think you know about it. I think you know about it. I think in schools, in colleges, we used to have the, you know, some bottles, in that cylindrical bottles, right? We used to store the specimens. Let's say there is a fish. It is in a chemical. Remember the name of the chemical? Formalin. Formalin, right? We used to store that chemical, living organism in the chemicals, like in the formalin. Okay, so that it will not get degraded, so that we can study it. So it is important, right, to, you know, to preserve the plants, right, to, you can say that, to keep these specimens like this so that we can study. Okay, so lab studies, field studies, everything is important. Everything is important, right, bache? Right, bache? Okay. So see, now it is used for classification, as I said, of an organism, and the information gathered is also stored along with the specimens. It is not just that like you went to a, let's say you went to some tropical forest and you are like, yo, in that tropical forest, this is the organism, right? This is the organism and it is this is a new organism. It's very beautiful. Chalo, let's keep it as a specimen. Of course not. You're not just going to put it in a beaker, right? You're not just going to put it in a beaker. You will not be like, okay, I will keep it like this only. No, of course not, right? You have to study it and you have to note down that information, right? We need to record that data. Like I went to this particular forest and here I found this particular species. This species having these and these and this and this characters. So obviously we even need to note down that information as well. So that is why it is mentioned that we need to collect these specimens. They are used for classification of an organism, and the information gathered is also stored along with the specimens, right? It is also stored along with the specimens. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So specimen will be preserved for the future studies later on. Fine. So biologists, they establish certain procedures and techniques to store and preserve the information as well as the specimens, and they right, some of these are explained to help you understand the usage of these aids. Fine, these taxonomical aids. So biologists, what they have done, they have established certain procedure and techniques to store and preserve the information, right? To store and preserve the information as well as the specimen. So this will come under the taxonomical aid. So any doubt here? Any doubt here? Sure, bache? This is the meaning of taxonomical aid. So here you guys can see the herbarium. You know about the herbarium? So herbarium is for the plants only, right? Right, it's for the plants only. Herbarium. we can collect any plant. You have to, let's say you are taking one twig, right? Make sure that you are taking a clear twig that where all the leaves are intact, right? But then you can dry it, you can preserve it, you can paste it on the herbarium sheet. You have to, you know, note down here, you have to mention few points on that herbarium sheet. Okay, done bache. So here you can see, when you talk about the herbarium, what is it? It's a storehouse. It's a storehouse of what? It's a storehouse of collected plant specimens. So in the case of herbarium, we are only talking about the plants. Herbarium is not for the animals, Nandana, it is for the plants. So herbarium is for the collected plant specimens that will be dried, pressed and preserved on sheets, bache, and these sheets will be arranged to a universally accepted system of classification. So in this sheet, what will you do? You will add the description, right? You are going to mention some things like you will put some labels that are going to provide the information about that particular plant, right? First of all, you have to mention the date and place of collection. This is important, bache. Again, it is an important question, right? It is a PYQ, basically a previous year question. So on herbarium sheet, you need to mention the date and place of collection, okay, the English name, the local name and the botanical name. For the local name, we also use the word vernacular, right? We also use the word vernacular. So English name, local name, botanical name, also with that family collector's name also you need to mention, right bache, right? So in that, so here you guys can see the herbarium. So it is showing the stored specimens. So in the case of plants, that is how we are going to store the plants, right? That is how we can store the plants. We can take the twig, we can put it on the herbarium sheet, bache, right? We can put it over a herbarium sheet, right bache, with all the description. Fine, with all the description. So they will be having the accurate information. Fine, they will be having that accurate information, right? Fine, done. So it will be a kind of storehouse for the plants. So I think you know about some herbariums. I think you know about Royal Botanical Garden, which is in Kew, London. Right. So it's world renowned herbaria. Okay, it's world renowned herbaria. Done bache, done. And there is one central national herbaria in the Calcutta as well. In the Calcutta as well. Right, Calcutta as well. Fine. So next is the botanical garden. Bache, you know na, botanical garden is also, it is also an ex situ or in situ mode of conservation. What is it? Botanical garden is what? Is it an in situ mode of conservation or ex situ mode of conservation? Botanical garden. In situ or ex situ? Guys, in situ or ex situ? First of all, tell me what is the meaning of in situ and ex situ? Yes, Deepu? What is the meaning of in situ and ex situ conservations? First of all, tell me. Botanical garden we are discussing now, na? Some are saying in situ, some are saying ex situ. But you see, it is the ex situ conservation, right? Ex situ means off-site. Ex situ means off-site. What is it? It is off-site. Like, you know, it's sometimes what happened, some plants, right, we need to preserve them, right? Or you can say that we need to save them. Some plants are endangered, critically endangered, or you can say that wherever they are present, that surrounding is not safe for them, that temperature, environment conditions are not feasible for them. So we will shift it to a place where they can get, you know, the suitable environment, the optimum environment, and they can survive, right? So when we move something from their original location to, you know, to a place where we are going to provide them the conditions, the external conditions for their better survival, then we use the word ex situ, right? If we are conserving any animal or a plant to its on its, you know, that native place, then you use the word in situ, right? In situ, like you have the examples of wildlife sanctuaries, in situ mode of conservation. But when it is ex situ, you are taking it to somewhere else, to a safer place, right? Not in a natural habitat, outside the natural habitat, right there, right? So botanical garden is the ex situ mode of conservation, right? Off-site conservation. So these specialized gardens have collections of living plants for the reference. Plant species in these gardens, they are grown for identification purpose, right bache, right? They will be, you know, labeled properly with the scientific name. And yes, famous, this is the botanical garden, Kew, England, Royal Botanical Garden, and one is your Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, and National Botanical Research Institute, that is your NBRI, Lucknow. So this is what you need to remember. And even the Royal Botanical Garden is also the herbaria. Do not get confused. Royal Botanical Garden is also the herbaria, bache, right? It is also the herbaria. Do not get confused there. Fine. It is also the herbaria. World renowned herbaria. And here we are also talking about the Royal Botanical Garden. It's basically a botanical garden. So basically in Royal Botanical Garden you are having herbaria also, it's a botanical garden also, and in India we have Indian Botanical Garden in Howrah and National Botanical Research Institute in Lucknow. Clear? Next is the museum, bache, biological museum. You know that they are even in the educational institute, like in my school, in my colleges, we used to have museums. So in the museum also is a kind of storehouse, right? Right. So there we will be having the preserved plants and the animal species for the study and reference. So animals, you know that chemical is formalin, in which we used to store the animals. So now this is your homework. You guys will mention it in the comment section. The composition of formalin, very easy. What is the composition of formalin? Right, it's very easy. This is what you need to mention. Okay, okay, bache. Done. So insects are preserved in insect boxes after collecting, killing and pinning. So have you ever made a insect box? Any insect box ever? It was a project. I made it in my graduation. Insect box. So we need to collect the insect, then we have to obviously kill it, right? And then you have to make sure that all the parts are intact. Okay, then you have to pin it up properly. Each and every part should be clear. Like I remember in the case of cockroach, right? In my locality, I told everyone that I want one cockroach. So all my cousin, brothers and sisters, you know, they brought so many cockroaches. So I selected the bigger one. So they were like, don't worry, I will do it for you. Right? So sometimes I used to collect that when it is the insect collection, make sure you cannot carry the spider. You cannot put the spider there. Spider belongs to class Arachnida. That is not an insect. So it was the mistake that majority of students made in our class. I still remember that. Spider is not an insect. It is an arachnid. It is an arachnid. It belongs to class Arachnida. Okay, so many students, they have kept the spider in their, you know, insect box, and I was like, see to our professor, see. They have kept Arachnida. It is not right. Okay. So large animal, birds and mammals, they are usually stuffed and preserved. So skeleton of element is also skeleton of animal is also there in that museum. So see, this is the image from one of the museums. You guys can see here. Okay, okay, bache. So the next is the zoological park. Again, you know that they are also the ex situ mode of conservation. Wild animals are kept in protected environment there. So it is also off-site conservation. It is also ex situ conservation. Fine. So here they are having the protected environment, right, bache? So that's all. That's it. And the next is the key. And many times you find it difficult to understand the key. So now let's talk about the key, and then we will be we have to discuss the monograph, flora, everything. So we will finish it in 10 more minutes. Okay, we are going to finish it in 10 more minutes. So tell me, any doubt? Any doubt? And can you tell me the India's largest museum? Can you tell me the name of the India's largest museum? Yes, it is in Delhi. This is the hint that I can give you right now. It is in Delhi. India's largest museum. It is in Delhi. Do check it. Okay, do check it. So now next is the key. So what is key, bache? Taxonomical key is an artificial analytical device. What is taxonomical key? It is an artificial analytical, right? It is an artificial analytical device. It is having bache the characters, basically the contrasting characters are present in the keys, right? So it is not like that there will be a kind of key that we use in some lock or something. No, it is basically artificial analytical device. It will be having some statements, like I'll quote one example. It is more like a puzzle. Okay, I'll give you one example of dichotomous key. Let's say you have one organism, you want to identify that. So let's say there are certain set of characters, here present, here absent. Okay, so these are the contrasting characters, here present, here absent. Contrasting characters they are, isn't it? So skin smooth, skin dry, right? Skin smooth, skin dry. Nails present, nails absent. So these are the contrasting characters. This is what? These are the contrasting characters, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? So what are we discussing? We are discussing key, and it is an artificial analytical device. What is it? It is an artificial analytical device having set of statements, and that statements are what? That are basically the contrasting or alternate statements. Alternate characters we are going to mention in these statements, or you can say that the contrasting characters, here present, here absent, skin dry, skin smooth, right bache, external ear present, external ear absent, characters like this. Okay, characters like this. So list of statement will be there with alternate characters, with contrasting characters, and it is used for the identification purpose. You can identify any class, order, family on the basis of that. Right, this is how we are going to use the key. So what is key? Key is an artificial analytical device having set of statements with alternate characters that can be used to identify, class, order, or any organism. Got it? Got it? Right? It's very simple, but still you people make it difficult. So when you are considering two alternating right characters, you use the word couplet. It's like a couple, na? Right? Husband and wife, they are not aligned on the same point ever, right? One is saying we want to go out, another one will say no, we don't. Right? One will say we want this sofa, another one will say no, we don't. Right? So couplet, couple. So in the couples it is very common, na? Rarely they will align. Otherwise they will always be like no, no, no. One will say yes, another will say no. Same as the case here. Right? Skin smooth, skin dry. So this is the couplet. Right? This is the couplet. So for such alternating characters, we will use the word couplet. Right? It is also a couplet, and each statement here is lead. For each statement you will use the word lead, but for the set of these contrasting characters we will be using the word couplet. Got it? Right? So this is what key is. So here you can see it's another taxonomical aid which is used for identification of plants and animals on the similarities and dissimilarities. So here we are going to consider some contrasting or some alternating characters. So they will be in a pair, and the pair will be like couplet. Right? Pair will be like couplet. Here present, here absent. Nails present, nails absent. So it represents the choice that we have to made in between two opposite options, and this result in acceptance of only one and the rejection of other. Right? So you have to accept one, you have to reject other. So mother is always right, hai na? So each statement is the lead. So separate taxonomic keys are required for each taxonomic category, such as for family, genus and species. I told you that. So they are generally analytical in nature. So here you can see the example of a dichotomous key. There are different types of keys. You are lucky it is not the part of your syllabus. It was in my syllabus when I was in masters, and I used to hate this topic. But it's kind of interesting as well. So see, vertebrates. So what will you check? Fur is present or there is no fur. So if fur is present, organism is going to be mammal. If there is no fur, then it's just like a treasure hunt. Okay, if it is not like this, so it can be like this. Okay, so here you can see no fur, so means feathers can be there. So if feathers are present, then definitely it is a bird. But let's say if feathers are not there, then you will go for the skin. If it is dry, it will be a reptile. If it is moist, then again there are two possibilities. Moist skin is having scales or it is having no scales. So if scales are there, fish. If no scales, then it is the amphibian. Got it now? Yes. Now you got it. What is the meaning of key, and especially this dichotomous key? So see, it is for the insects. Large wings, butterfly. If small or no wings, then it can have very long rear legs. So antenna is in front or very long. So this is how you can categorize it. That's it. Okay, that's it. Fine, fine. And then bache, you have words like this: flora, manuals, monographs, catalogs, right? They are also the means of recording description. Like firstly, I'll tell you about the monograph. Mono means single, right? Mono means single. So in the monograph, you will be having the information, the data of only one taxa, right? Of only one particular taxa. When it is a monograph, what will you have in that monograph? You will be having the information of only, right? You will be having the information of only one particular, yes bache, only one particular taxa on any taxon. Monographs, mono is single. So it will be having information on any one taxon. Like there is a monograph on family Liliaceae. I'll give you one example. There is a monograph of family Liliaceae, right? So it will be having all the information of family Liliaceae. Okay, Neeru, it will be having all the information on family Liliaceae monograph. Now when the word is flora, flora word is related to the plants. Flora word is related to the plants. So now when you talk about the flora, so flora will be having the information, the detailed description of the plants present in a particular area, right bache? Just note it down bache, it is important, right? So it is important. So when it is the flora, it will have the information of the plants in a specific area, right? It will be having the information of plants. Flora means plants, information of plants in a specific area. So it will include everything, like you know, the complete description, even the kind of climatic conditions required, right? Everything will be considered in the flora. Firstly, understand the meanings, okay? Then you can write down the information. Then you can write down the definition. Then comes the bache word manuals. Manuals, like we used to have the lab manuals. So in the lab manuals, right, manual, you know this word, na? For the chemistry lab, we have the different manual. For the biology lab, we have the different manual. So manual will be having the information related to all the experiments that we need to do there, and all the right points that you need to take care when you are doing some experiment. So same is the case here. When you are talking about the manual, it is a kind of handy book, and this book will be having the, you know, information of the species found in an area, right? So what is manual? Manual is a handy book having information of all the species, information of all the species. In flora, you are only talking about the plants, but here you are talking about all the species found in an area. Basically, how can you identify them? It is also given in that manual. Fine, bache. How can you identify them? It is also given in that manual. The Shoj is right. Right, bache? So manual is a kind of handy book which will be having the information, right, for the identification or even for the collection and for the identification of species in any area. Not just the identification. Handy book having information of collection and identification. Collection and identification of all the species found in an area. You got it? Done, bache? Done? In the lab manuals we have all the information. In the monographs just one taxa will be considered, right? And when it is the catalog, it will be having the list of species, right, which are found in a particular area with all the description, that's all. But I think here it is in alphabetical order, right? So when it is the catalog, it is also having information of species found in an area with their brief description. So in the catalog you will be even having the brief description of all the species which are there in that particular area. So I hope it is clear to you all. Yes bache, right? So catalogs will be having the arrangement of particular species with the description. So in the catalogs, so it will be in alphabetical order. Everything will be given in the alphabetical order. Fine. Right, fauna means animals, but here we are talking about the flora, having information of all the plants found in a particular area, about their habitat, about their distribution. So it is more like an index to the plant species, okay? It is more like an index to the plant species. So about its distribution, climatic condition, everything is given here. So see, this is given here in your NCERT. So that's it, that's all bache. So you know that practice makes us perfect. So we are going to practice few questions, but before that, if there is any doubt, do let me know. Yes. So if you people are having any doubt, do let me know. PDF I'll share in the Telegram group. Don't worry about that. Let's practice the question. But before that, if there is any doubt, do let me know. So same way, you guys will be having the having the next marathon on biological classification. It will be on Thursday, right? It will be on Thursday, biological classification. So that session will be lengthy. So now, so after 3 hours, you started crying. Now, when are you going to end the class? That class will be, that chapter is lengthy. So obviously, it will be for 5 hours. But we will go in a sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Okay. Okay, so if there is any doubt, do let me know. And here we go. Here we have our first question. I hope you all can see that. Right. Consider the following two statements. Statement 1 is, in the single-celled organism, we are not very clear about the usage of two terms, growth and reproduction. Statement 2 is saying, when it comes to the unicellular organism like bacteria, algae, amoeba, reproduction is synonym with the growth, that is increase in number of cells. So now you have to tell me both 1 and 2 are true and second explains the 1. Both 1 and 2 true, but second does not explain 1. 1 is true, second is false, both are false. So what should be the correct answer here? What should be the correct answer here? Tell me. Yes? Tell me. So see, in the single-celled organism, we are not clear about the usage of two terms, growth and reproduction. Yes, it is so. And when it comes to the unicellular organisms like bacteria, unicellular algae or amoeba, reproduction is synonym with the growth. Yes, these are mutually inclusive events. These are mutually inclusive events, right? So both are true and second is explaining the 1. Second is explaining the 1. Now next, assertion is species is a genetically closed system. I just told you. Reason is because the reproductive isolation constitutes the most important boundary between different species. Now, give the answer of this particular question. Just give the answer of this particular question. Species is genetically closed system because the reproductive isolation constitutes the most important boundary between different species. Of course, both assertion and reason, they are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion, right? Reason is the correct explanation of assertion. So question like this can also come in your exam. Next is, growth cannot be taken as a defining property of living organism. The reason is non-living objects also grow if we take increase in body mass as the criteria for growth. Yes? Tell me, everyone. So growth cannot be taken as a defining property of living organism. The reason is non-living object also grow if we take increase in body mass as criteria of growth. Again, the answer is 1. That is both assertion and reason. They both are true and reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. Next, okay. Now, match the columns. Chemotaxonomy, numerical taxonomy, cytotaxonomy, karyotaxonomy. And that's your homework. You will write a short note on karyotaxonomy. What do you understand by these words? It's easy. It's easy. Yes, everyone. Uh-oh. Tell me. Chemotaxonomy, cytotaxonomy, C with 1, right? C with 1. So you can eliminate these two options. And in numerical taxonomy, I told you that, okay, in numerical taxonomy, you know that it is basically the phonetics. Computers will be used, isn't it? Computers will be used, isn't it? And moreover, when it is the word is karyo, nuclear information will be taken. So D with the 2, so this is the first. So chemotaxonomy will include the RNA sequencing, numerical taxonomy will include the computers, cytotaxonomy is going to include the cytological information, and when it is the karyotaxonomy, it will be the nuclear information. Clear, bache? Okay, next question. Again, match each item in column 1 with item in column 2. So family, order, class, phylum, primata, Hominidae, Chordata, Mammalia. So here we have the codes. So what should be the correct answer here? What should be the correct answer here? So see, it's easy, bache. You know that phylum is Chordata, right? Your class is Mammalia. Your order is Primata and the family will be 2. So this is the answer, right? This is your answer. Clear, bache? This is your answer. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned and see, bache. This NEET Energized batch is having limited number of seats. Let me tell you, bache. Right, this batch is having limited number of seats, and we, we were not. Initially, we were like, we will just start NEET Avengers batch, but after NEET 2024 result, many students, they send the messages on Telegram and they want to enroll in our batch. Okay, so that is why we are starting this NEET Energized batch. And as Wasim sir said, I think you have seen that video, only 100 seats are there and they are filling up very fast. So be the part of this batch. Here in this batch, bache, extra 33 hours, right? Extra 33 plus hours will be there. See, you are going to get the recap session from all the teachers. Like in NEET Avengers batch, I have completed cell cycle and cell division, and I'm about to finish biomolecules. So you are going to get the recap sessions of that particular chapters also. Moreover, even we will provide you the recorded sessions of NEET Avengers batch, first thing. And in the boot camp, Wasim sir will be taking the strategy based sessions, one-to-one interaction will be there, right? He is going to take your doubt classes as well, right? So basically Wasim sir will be like, I am dedicated to you all. Are you getting it? And then your schedule will be same like the NEET Avengers batch. So limited number of seats are there, and if you are planning to crack the NEET 2024 exam, please do not wait for anything else. If you have decided you are going to drop, do not even wait for the counseling, bache, because counseling process and the result is going to take time. Okay, until then you can complete your 11 syllabus at least. Let me tell you. So this batch is going to be a game changer for all of you. All the teachers are dedicated, you know that, right? You can check the feedback from, you can even ask from the students of Avengers batch. They are very happy. Every week after the completion of a chapter mainly, you will be having the mock test. And here in this batch, weekly mock test will be there. Chapter wise mock test will also be there. So don't worry about your quick revision. Don't worry about your, test practice. Don't worry about your lectures. You are going to get everything. So enroll in this batch, right? So what you have to do, you know that. This is the description box. You have to click on this link, bache. And even if you have any doubt related to this, you can fill up this Google form. Okay. So here just add your numbers. You can even use the email. Avenger coupon code is already applied, and here you people can see the batch fees as well. So do not delay it, right? Be the part of this batch and let's start your NEET preparation again. And I want to see maximum comments after the class. Okay, so do let me know how was the session, what are your expectations, what chapters you want me to target first. My plan is next is going to be biological classification, but whatever suggestions you have, I'm open for that. So do mention it in the comment section. So thank you so much for watching everyone. Thank you.